After a delay of 1 day due to rain, nearly 90% of the fans called in sick to their jobs and returned to the racetrack. We are going green. The NASCAR Winston Cup Series Pocono 500 is coming up next, live on TNN Sports. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Pocono International Raceway. Still a heavy overcast. As recently as an hour ago, you could not even see the racetrack. But over the last 60 minutes, the fog has dissipated. One thing is for sure, as we sit here a couple of days before the official start of summer, it is in the low 50s here in the Poconos. Buddy Baker is alongside. I'm Eli Gold. Down on the pit lane, 2 stories developing. We'll hear those from both Glenn Jarrett and Dr. Dick Bergman. Glenn, give us the first story of the morning.
Well, Eli's kind of a humorous one. The drivers were calling the cars about 10-15 minutes ago. The engines were fired, and we walked down the line, and nobody in the 60 car, normally driven by Jeffrey Bodine. The cars actually were pulling away, starting to pull away when Jeffrey came running out of the garage area and got in the car. And I walked over to him. He was holding his back like he had a back problem. I thought maybe he'd having some therapy done. And I said, Jeffrey, where you been? I said, you got a back problem? He says, no, I've been asleep. So here's Dick Bergman.
Thanks, Glenn. Scott Pruitt's car is stuck down at the end of pit road toward turn 1. They can't get the engine fired. Apparently some sort of they're getting it pushed back now. Apparently some sort of a battery connection problem wrong with that race car.
So Scott Pruitt hopefully to be ready in time for the green flag that is due in just a couple of laps. You see the track is dry. They've had the jet dryers out there all morning. So the racing surface itself is ideal, albeit totally clean of any debris because of basically a day and a half of rain now. But we are set to go racing. Let's check out the Big K starting grid, sponsored by Big Kmart, where NASCAR fans race for savings. 5th pole of the year. 4th in the last 8 races for Rusty Wallace. There's Ricky Rudd, finished 2nd here 3 times. Jeff Gordon has 3 Pocono wins. Mark Martin in a bit of a slump. Mike Skinner led a lot of laps here in Pocono in his few visits to this triangle. Hey, can Tony Stewart win 3 races in a row, buddy?
I think so. He's very happy with the car, and then a little bit of time they had on the racetrack just before it started, this raining and all. Tony Stewart was one of the faster cars.
Look at row number 8. The family Earnhardt going side by side. Wally Dallenbach, Kevin LePage, Kenny Schrader starting in 19th. He has 5 poles here, and Brett Bodine with 9 Pocono top 10 finishes. Remember, Jeremy Mayfield had his first career win here back in 1998. Kenny Wallace, 200 career NASCAR Winston Cup starts today. That's a nice moment for him. Of course, it pales to the 699 starts from a partner sitting up here to my left.
That just lasted a long time.
Yeah, all the way to the Hall of Fame, you just managed to last. Sterling Marlin, Ward Burton, best finish in 8 races, is 15th here at Pocono. He has not had good success at this triangular racetrack. Kenny Irwin finished 4th at Talladega, his best finish of the season. There's Jeffrey Bodine, the all-time Pocono leader in laps led. Scott Pruitt, who has gotten his car refired. And there's Dave Marcus going shotgun on the field. When we come back, the green flag in the Pocono 500, a day late, but the king is ready, so that makes it official. We're going racing right after this.
You worry about your car lasting? Imagine going 500 miles in one stretch at 200 miles an hour. That can zap the life right out of your car. That's why my team has always used Havoline Motor Oil. The same unique formulation you can get for your car. Technically speaking, Havoline. That's the kind of protection I'm talking about. Why aren't you guys working?
Nice looking jacket.
Special edition.
Leather.
Name your price, man.
Your hat.
Some people will give anything,
Hey, Jack,
to own the special edition NASCAR 2000 jacket. But it's yours for just $169 when you buy any Exide Select battery. And you'll be helping the kids at Duke Children's Hospital.
Hey, Jack, where's your hat?
Look for details wherever Exide Select is sold.
Nice hat. Thanks.
This is the Firebird Trans Am. And it's very hungry. The muscle car lives. Firebird Trans Am by Pontiac.
There's something about that honey barbecue sauce. Hitting those 3 big strips of crispy chicken. And all that melted Monterey Jack cheese hitting that sauce. And every bite tastes better than the bite before. Oh, baby! Maybe I spend too much time thinking about that new sandwich from KFC. Maybe not.
Get over to KFC for the new Honey Barbecue Crunch Melt. Hurry, it's only here for a short time.
It's that good.
TNN Sports live coverage of the Pocono 500 is being brought to you by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. By Exide NASCAR Select, the official automotive battery of NASCAR. And by Wide Track Pontiac Grand Prix, proud sponsor of the U.S. Olympic team. Welcome back, everybody. Field has already gotten the 1-to-go signal, so they'll be coming to the green next time by. There are the 3 drivers who failed to qualify. A heartbreaker for old DW. 4 wins here at Pocono International Raceway, and Darrell Waltrip not here to participate this Monday morning. Rusty Wallace on the Bud pole for the 31st time in his career, Dick Bergman.
And he has just radioed to NASCAR that to him the racetrack looks good. There's just a tiny little bit of water on the main straightaway just past the start-finish line and a little bit up in turn 1. Other than that, he said good to go, so they're going to let him go.
Rusty Wallace sharing the front row with John Andretti. Rusty, a 3-time winner here. 2.5 miles around, 200 laps for 500 miles in the Pocono 500. Glad you're with us Monday on TNN Sports. And the green flag is out. We're underway. The high-speed hairpin turn number 1, banked 14 degrees. Now the Long Pond straightaway, 3,055 feet, named after the town in which this racetrack sits, Long Pond, Pennsylvania. Then the tunnel turn. It goes over the tunnel that goes from inside to outside the racetrack, 8 degrees of banking. This is the north straightaway, a 1/4 mile, 1,780 feet. Then they'll go slowly, relatively speaking, through turn 3. RPMs drop down, a 6-degree bank, and now this main straightaway, 7/10 of a mile, the longest single straightaway on any NASCAR Winston Cup racetrack. It's a triangle, and it's a handful. Kenny Schrader calls it seconds of boredom. Those are those long straightaways, interrupted by a few moments of terror, and those are those turns we're looking at right there.
Yes, and Dale Jarrett right now is dropping back a little bit. Mike Skinner's got by him, and you see the 99 of Jeff Burton working him over down the back straightaway there. But he has some help there with Tony Stewart in the 20 car just on the outside.
Stewart, that orange machine, number 20, he's running in 9th. And again, the north straightaway ties together the tunnel turn and the flat turn 3. This is a racetrack of compromise because all three turns are different. The straightaways are different. Most drivers will set up for turn 3 because you spend so much time there.
Absolutely, and that dictates the speed that you run down the front straightaway as to how well you get off turn 3. Right there, they shift down. They actually change gears, even though it's a major speedway, to get that great run down Long Pond straightaway.
And you're really shifting just as you're turning hard into that high-speed hairpin. It's not really like shifting on a road course, is it?
No, it's not. And you really have to get on the brakes pretty hard getting into turn 1. As Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his dad are running side by side across the tunnel turn there. But you're exactly right. You get down in the corner, you shift there, and back in the throttle wide open. But it's not like you're shifting a regular transmission. The variance in the RPMs is only a couple of hundred RPMs between 3rd and 4th.
There you see the battle for second spot. The 28, the black car, Ricky Rudd. The STP 43, John Andretti.
Boy, Ricky Rudd looks like he's on a mission today. That 28 car is just handling perfect on the bottom part of the racetrack. When he went by his teammate a while ago, Dale Jarrett, he just turned left right in the middle of the corner and drove under him and right out of the corner and pulled away.
Granted happy hour, that final practice, or more appropriately put, happy half hour, because of rain, was about a day and a half ago. But for what it's worth department, Ricky Rudd was very, very quick in that final practice.
Well, he's been quick since he unloaded, and this car has been known to run very, very well here. The 28 car, when Dale Jarrett ran it here, won the race here when he was driving the 28 years back.
Right now, still single file on the main straightaway, but later on, you're going to be seeing all sorts of 3 and 4 and 5 wide battles. Here comes Dale Earnhardt. You saw him peel off the racetrack. Unscheduled stop for Dale Earnhardt. His son, Kerry Earnhardt, won the ARCA 200 here on Saturday. Dick Bergman, what's the problem?
Flat right front tire. They're going to put the right side tires on that car only. We could see it as he came down pit road. It is definitely soft, Eli. Tough break for the Winston Cup champion, Dale Earnhardt.
I'm not going to speculate, but all the Goodyear's worn off the side of the sidewall of that car. He's gotten into somebody, because you notice the white marking on that tire there. When he was coming in, there was no marking whatsoever on the right front tire.
Now, the good thing about Pocono is if a stop is fairly routine like this one here, you do not lose a lap. It takes you darn near a minute to make a complete lap here at Pocono International Raceway. So even though you have to make an unscheduled pit stop, as Earnhardt did, he does not lose a lap. That's one of the beneficial points of this long, flat layout. You do take a long time to get around this racetrack.
Eli, I was watching Mike Skinner. We had reports before the race started. They wasn't very pleased with the car, but right now that car is one of the top 4 cars as far as speed around the racetrack out there right now. So maybe this rainy weather and a little bit cooler conditions really played into their hand, where the car works a little better than they thought it would.
There's the 1 6/10 second spread between Rusty Wallace and Ricky Rudd. Then John Andretti, Jeff Gordon 4th, and Mike Skinner running in 5th. You know what's interesting? We talked about shifting here on this racetrack. There doesn't seem to be. Look at the donuts. I'll get back to that. Remember where Earnhardt and his son were running side by side earlier? Did you see those marks on the right of the Budweiser car? I wonder if that was a father-son. Maybe Junior forgot to give his daddy a Father's Day gift yesterday or something.
Well, I tell you, since the day that he started racing, one of the most hair-raising experiences I remember was the IROC race that they had in Michigan last year. They traded paint for 2 laps there, and Dale finally beat his son out. But I mean, they really pop each other every once in a while.
There goes Elliott Sadler in the 21 machine. That's 30th place on your screen right now. Challenging inside of the 42 of Kenny Irwin. I was about to say that ever since they started shifting here, really back in 1983 is when it became popular. Although they tried it back in 1978 when the modifieds ran here, and Richie Evans, Steve Meal who was working with Richard Petty at the time back in '78, he noticed that modified race when Evans was shifting. And Steve Neal brought the idea with him to Billy Hagan Racing with Terry Labonte in '83, and then reintroduced it with Jack Roush in '89. But the payoff to all of that is there doesn't seem to be universal acceptance as to where you should shift, nor how many times you should shift here.
You're exactly right. And the one thing that really made it easy to shift now is the Jericho transmission. That is a road racing transmission that they use on this type of racetrack. And it's pretty hard to miss a gear with it because it has square cut gears, and you don't even use the clutch a lot of times. You just jerk it in the gear and it just meshes right up.
Rusty Wallace leads. There's Dale Earnhardt running in 43rd, albeit on the lead lap. Glenn?
Yeah, guys, when he came down, we thought the right front was flat. It was not. The tire was up, and he did not get into Dale Jr. He brushed Martin. And so they brought him in. He thought the tire was rubbing a little bit. He was afraid it had cut it. With the extreme speed you run down the front straightaway here. Remember seeing Rusty Wallace hit the wall here real hard going into one last year here. He didn't want to take a chance of blowing the tire. So he came in, had him change his right side tires. The tire was up, but they did not get the fender completely fixed yet, so it's messing up the aerodynamics on it. But Carl and Richard Childress told me they thought it was going to be okay, no further damage.
Interesting. If Earnhardt didn't tangle with his son, somebody certainly did.
Well, somebody has, and the other thing is, I noticed that all the markings on the outside, so I know he had made contact. We hadn't talked about Rusty Wallace, and the reason for that, he checked out on the people, so we're back in the pack watching racing.
Rusty Wallace. He's had a lot of good luck here. He's had some bad luck here. The Jeff Gordon fans have returned, along with about 90% of the folks who were here yesterday. By 1.5 seconds now, Rusty Wallace is continuing to lead here at Pocono. Hey, folks, a reminder, you can ride along live today with your favorite drivers by going online at tnnracing.com. Click on to our exclusive and free online webcast of the Pocono 500. You can enjoy multiple in-car views and listen into the driver and crew conversation. tnnracing.com. Available to you right now on the World Wide Web. On the pit lane, Scott Pruitt, problems again. Still the electrical problems, Glenn?
Yep, same thing, Eli. The battery is still, it's just not sending enough fire to the car to even spark the ignition. And so they're going to change the battery and the cables and pretty much everything they can in that part of the electrical system. They'll also put on right side tires while he's in. But, boy, that's tough to sit here all that time and have problems like that. But they got a little time to fix it.
You saw the change on the racetrack for 6th spot as Jeff Burton moves around Dale Jarrett. So it's now Burton in 6th, Jarrett in 7th. The orange car of Tony Stewart challenging for that spot now.
Yeah, Dale Jarrett's having a problem right now getting off the corner. There's no question about it. Tony Stewart gained 3 car lengths on him as they accelerated out of the corner out of turn 3. Now he runs down the straightaway very well, but when they get back in the throttle, watch Tony Stewart. He'll start to just move away right there.
You also got a quick glimpse of Terry Labonte going up the banking there. Now he comes back down to be challenged by Jeremy Mayfield. Labonte is in the 5, losing the spot to Mayfield. So Mayfield is now 9th. And Terry Labonte in his 651st consecutive NASCAR Winston Cup start. He backslides into the 10th spot. And Scott Pruitt with a battery change, another tweaking of the electrical system. He is back on the racetrack. He will lose 4, potentially 5 laps, depending upon how quickly he can come up to speed.
Yeah, and right now the leaders are really gaining on him in a hurry, and somebody's doing very well. Mike Skinner, we were told that he was not hooked up today, and I tell you, he's moved right up there. He's in 4th spot right now.
There's Mike Skinner in that Lowe's number 31, the blue and yellow car. Mike Skinner ran an ARCA race here a few years ago, in addition to his NASCAR Winston Cup starts. That's 5th place on your screen. Jeff Gordon feeling the heat from Jeff Burton.
Whoa, you talk about heat. That was a flamethrower there. He went right on by. And Tony Stewart now, he's really hooked up on the bottom side of the racetrack. This is a familiar story if you've watched racing for the past couple of weeks. He's already won 2 in a row, going for 3 in a row, and that car is like a bullet in the race.
It's interesting, too, that Pontiac has won only 5 of 44 races here over the years. Of course, they swept them both last year with Bobby Labonte. But before Bobby's sweeps here last year, you have to go back to '93 when Kyle Petty had last won in a Pontiac. Good battle there with Dale Jarrett, Jeremy Mayfield, and Terry Labonte. That is 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Jeremy's car seems to accelerate very well out of the corners. He runs a very soft suspension on his car. If you notice, he goes in the corner, it looks like the left front's on the ground.
By the way, if you're curious as to where our onboard cameras are, the in-cars, you have to have a helicopter flying overhead to get the signal and bounce it back to the production truck. And regretfully, though the racetrack itself is fine, the ceiling is very, very low here. A heavy overcast and certainly some fog still hanging over the racetrack. And the ceiling is too low to allow our helicopter to fly right now. So should the ceiling raise up some, we'll get the helicopter up and get those onboard pictures for you. But for the meantime, Mother Nature not allowing the helicopter to fly. But one guy who is flying is right there, the 12 machine of Jeremy Mayfield.
Yeah, Pegasus is doing pretty well on the quarter panel there, too. You see that horse flying? Well, that car is flying, too.
Takes over 8th spot from Dale Jarrett. Rusty Wallace is the leader by 2 1/10 seconds over Ricky Rudd. There's Mike Skinner, Glenn. He's having a good running for it.
Yeah, and I'm kind of like Buddy Baker, wondering why he's running so well, because before the race was supposed to start yesterday, Larry McReynolds, you told me that you thought your car was junk. You couldn't get it to turn. It looks pretty good. What'd you do to it?
Well, I mean, we changed a lot of stuff, Glenn. Mainly made some major shock adjustments, some rear spring stuff. And right now, he's actually a little bit loose. And I didn't even know Mike Skinner could stay loose, so we're not going to make You can't push at Pocono. You got to be a little bit on the free side. So we started on scuff, so we want to see what stickers do. That's what we'll be going to next, just with a small adjustment.
Well, that's interesting. We'll keep an eye on that, because they do have, like you said, stickers up here on the wall for the next time. See if it changes the car very much. That might have, play a big role in the outcome of this race today, guys.
Let's remember also, folks, that Skinner led here in June of '97 before engine failure ended the day. Then in July of '97, he finished in 6th, which at that time was his career best in his young career. So the fact that he's doing well maybe shouldn't be a surprise.
No, and right now he's got a strong charge right there by Tony Stewart. He's going by on the, trying to go by on the inside. Skinner's got a very fast car down the straightaway. Tony Stewart can take that car anywhere he wants to on the racetrack, though, and he should make this pass on the tunnel turn as they head into turn 2.
That's for 4th place. So Stewart has 4th, Skinner 5th. Jeff Burton may wrestle it away from Skinner on the north straightaway, and he does. So not a good lap for Mike Skinner, losing a couple of spots. But every lap is a good one for that man, Rusty Wallace. His lead 2 2/10 seconds in front of all of those folks who called in sick today from work. You just got a glimpse of Wally Dallenbach taking his car to the garage area. We are under caution for the first time. Wally Dallenbach first into the garage. He was involved in the tussle with the wall. Same time Dave Blaney had some problems. That's a bad looking.
Yeah, that one won't be fixed, I don't think.
Watch again what happens.
Sterling Marlin just on the inside of him as they go in the tunnel turn. Contact right there. You see Sterling turn to the left and back to the right. He misses the real contact, but he set this off by touching the back of Wally Dallenbach getting in the corner.
And then unrelated to that, Dave Blaney losing a right rear tire, but he has been able to continue around. So 2 cars actually 3 cars involved. Sterling, who drove away, Wally, who's gone to the garage, and then in a totally separate incident, Dave Blaney losing a right rear tire. What this caution does do, however, is allow Dale Earnhardt to stay on the lead lap. Remember, he had made an unscheduled stop back on lap 3. You get a lap down here, buddy. It's not like getting a lap down at most any other racetrack.
You're exactly right. You get a lap down here, you spend the rest of the day a lap down, because it takes forever to get around here, first off, and it's a 2.5-mile racetrack, a flat track at that, so you don't drive up that much on a car if you're a lap down.
So the first caution flag of the afternoon, or actually still the morning here in Pocono, 10:30 on a Monday morning. Rusty Wallace had a comfortable lead of 2.9 seconds that evaporates with this yellow flag period. Lap number 22 is when the first round of pit stops take place. Dr. Bergman.
And his crew chief has just counted Rusty Wallace down. Wallace said 4 tires, no changes. Robin Pemberton, crew chief, said no changes. Rusty said none. They are changing nothing except 4 tires, and Doug England's putting a full load of fuel in it. To Glenn.
Okay, I stayed down in Mike Skinner's pits, and Larry McReynolds told me they're going to tighten the car up just a little bit. Remember, he told us just a little bit loose. They're going to put about a round of bite in the car. They're doing that on the left rear. Will be 4 tires of fuel. And remember, they're putting on sticker tires this time. Mike is down and away, so we'll see how those stickers work out.
If you're new to NASCAR racing, sticker tires are brand new tires that still have the manufacturer's paper sticker on the tire. That's where that term comes from, as opposed to scuffed tires or scuffs, which is, as the name implies, tires you might have put on for a lap or so to kind of rub the good new off of them.
Yeah, exactly. And around the bite is when you put a little more tension on the spring, the left rear spring, to give it more forward bite and tighten the back of the car up.
Kenny Wallace on the pit lane. He was not running well. He was back in 42nd spot. And while he and everybody else make stops here at lap number 22, the hood goes up on the Square D machine. Caution for the first time at Pocono. Back after this.
Whether you drive your family around the neighborhood or the number 21 Citgo Taurus around the NASCAR circuit, you make a lot of pit stops along the way. So from Darlington to Detroit, Bristol to Boston, and just about every place in between, you can count on your local Citgo to keep you going. Gas, food, and conversation. Just what you'd expect from a neighbor.
From the quarter mile at St. Louis to the third turn at Talladega to the pits of Laguna Seca. Wherever innovation is the margin between win and lose, the pros reach for the same tools you do. Craftsman, the official tools of CART, NHRA, and NASCAR.
I don't know, it's just so...
We're not sure about the whole flame thing. The flames intimidate the other cars right out of the way. Plus, it's a major chick magnet.
The ASA EC Delco Series on TNN. Welcome back to Pocono International Raceway. Hey, folks, if you'd like, you can enter TNN's Red Wing Shoes Work Hard and Win sweepstakes, and you could be a winner. Just tell us the position of John Andretti's number 43 STP car at the halfway point in the race. That's at lap number 100 here today. And you could win one of 2 grand prize trips to a NASCAR Winston Cup race aired here on TNN, or 1 grand prize Dodge Ram truck. It's easy. Just go to your local participating Red Wing shoe store for an official entry form, or send your name, age, address, phone number, and the answer on a postcard to the address you see on the screen. Or if you'd like, you can enter online at country.com. Either way, we'll be hoping to see you at an upcoming race, and we'll remind you where John Andretti is running when we get to halfway here at Pocono International this morning. Well, the team cars are at the head of the field. Jeremy Mayfield leading Rusty Wallace. Glenn Jarrett watching it all unfold on pit road.
Yeah, a couple of cars gained some big positions on the pit stops. First, we'll start with Matt Kenseth in the 17 car. He came in running pretty far back in the pack, and they only changed 2 tires that got him all the way up to 14th. But the guy who made the biggest leap was none other than Jeremy Mayfield, Rusty Wallace's teammate. Jeremy's guys changed right sides only, and that got him out in front of everybody else, got him in the lead. They made no other change to the car. He loves it the way it is, Dick Berggren.
Well, Kenny Wallace doesn't like his car the way it is for sure. He has broken the spring bracket, or the anti-roll bar bracket, on the left front corner of the car. This is the bracket that was on it. You can see how the thing is broken right in half. Right now, Jimmy Elledge's crew chief is underneath. They're trying to put a new one on, and they just missed staying on the lead lap. He got down to the end of pit road. Panel man said, you got here too late. He backed the car down. They threw right side tires on it, and now they have just finished the repair. So Kenny Wallace will rejoin the field, albeit a lap down. Eli?
Hi, Doctor. Thank you. Before we go back to green, want to say hello to Rodney Halverson back home in North Carolina. He is a fabricator on both the Mark Martin and Jeff Burton cars, and he had some surgery this past week. And we know that Rodney is watching this morning, and all the guys here at Pocono want to say hello to Rodney Halverson, wishing him the speediest of recoveries. And also, unfortunately, those of us here at the TNN and World Sports family lost one of our broadcast members this week, Lauren Smith, who worked for the Zytec company. Those are the folks who bring you the telemetry numbers that you see on the screen during our races. He was killed here in the Pocono area on Friday. He is survived by his wife Mary and one son, and we certainly offer our condolences to the family of Lauren Smith, passing away here in the Poconos on Friday. We're back racing here at Pocono International Raceway. Had some good contact there on the start. Did you see that? Looked like Burton and Skinner had bounced off one another.
Well, when you're in third gear like that and you're accelerating up, somebody pulls over, you're in the throttle, you're not on the brakes. So a lot of times you make contact on restarts. I think that's probably the most dangerous part of the race is on restarts when you're double foul.
88 Dale Jarrett challenging Mike Skinner for 7th. Watch it again. Look at the right-hand side of your screen. Yeah, it was Burton and Skinner.
That was pretty simple. The 31 of Mike Skinner wanted to go on the high side of the racetrack to block it out. You can't pass till you get to the flag stand. And he had a full head of steam coming up there, and Mike Skinner just came right across the nose of the car.
Johnny Benson in the 10. You saw him making a move there. Challenging Terry Labonte in the number 5.
Johnny Benson has been very, very good all year long, but we have a race for the lead now as they go down in the tunnel turn. Rusty Wallace wants the lead. Jeremy Mayfield, I don't think he has the car to fight back there.
Nope. Rusty Wallace, who led the first 22 laps, yielded to Jeremy Mayfield for laps 23 through 26. And Rusty will take over again at lap number 27.
And Ricky Rudd looking to the inside, but they have Tony Stewart in the 20 now, moving in 4th place there. Won't be long before that 20's up there bidding for the lead.
Why all of a sudden has this team hit their stride to where they were last year? I mean, let's face it, the beginning of this season for Tony was your basic sophomore jinx, and now all of a sudden he can't lose.
I tell you the honest truth, you'd have to look at the history of Tony Stewart. He is just an absolute dynamo in anything he drives. Sprint cars, midgets, go-karts, it does not matter. He's a winner. And he got with a great guy, Zippadelli. They worked together, the crew chief. It's like having a brother working on the car, and they really understand what it takes to make the car work.
Hey, look who's back there. That's Dale Earnhardt Jr. all the way back in 34th position. Glenn, how did he get back there?
Well, Eli, first thing I want to say is this is the first day of summer. It's about 12 degrees down here. At least it feels like. But what happened is the lug nuts fell off. The adhesive that they used to glue the lug nuts on the tires, it's just simply so cool this morning, it didn't stick. And when he put the tires on, the lug nuts fell off. And so they had to pick them up one by one and put them on the car. So he lost a lot of time and obviously a lot of valuable track position.
Boy, you just see that right out there. Did you just notice it looked like a belt just flew off one of the race cars out there? Did you see that?
Well, if it's oil pump belt, you'll know who it is pretty quick because he'll start dropping straight backwards.
It was either a belt or something that flew off a car as they were going towards turn number 1. We'll find out if somebody heads to the garage here.
Maybe it was a black hot dog wrapper. I'm hoping, because I tell you, the oil pump belt, usually if it flies off, you're pretty well done in a lap or so.
It was impossible to pick out from whose car it came. They were all in a pack. It looked like a big old rubber snake or a belt of some sort.
Eli, I just noticed Dale Earnhardt flying up through there. You know, he was at the back of the tail end of the lead lap, and he got in the flat back, as a matter of fact, and drove up, and he's coming up through there. Look at this, 4 and 5 wide down the front straightaway, and Steve Park and Jeff Gordon are not getting along right now.
One thing, though, when you have about 6, 7, 8 lanes wide here on the main straightaway.
I want to see. That's more fun here.
That's why I like Pocono, because it's different.
Well, it is fun. You see Mark Martin right now working on Burton there as they go down. Ward Burton as they head down. Here comes Jeffrey Bodine, who just barely made the race. He was sleeping in his truck.
Yeah. If you didn't join us at the beginning, the race started. They fired the cars up. They said, gentlemen, start your engines. And the 60 car wouldn't crank. The reason was there was nobody in the driver's seat to crank it. He was sleeping. But he made it in time for the green flag. Kyle Petty there on the inside lane coming at you. There's Kyle.
Well, that's the wall back there where Earnhardt and those guys are racing there. I mean, they're going. But look at Earnhardt. I mean, he's picking them off like he. In practice and all, he has been one of the fastest cars, but he just motoring right up on Jeff Gordon. They hit the corners. He really gets going.
He's in 23rd spot now, Earnhardt is, in the number 3. And remember, he has posted 5 top 10 finishes in the last 6 races here at Pocono. He's had a love-hate relationship with this place. He has won a couple of times and has had some hellacious accidents here a couple of times as well.
Eli, this is his 40th race here, so he has great, you know, he's been here so many times, and he's been in the top 5 9 times and 21 top 10s.
Well, it seems as though it must have been a chunk of rubber or something that came off the car and not a belt, because had it been a belt, somebody would have gone to the pits and not the garage by now, so that's certainly good news. That only Wally Dallenbach and no one else is in the garage area. Wally going in with an accident back on lap number 20. Up front, 4/10 of a second, separating Rusty Wallace and Jeremy Mayfield. The helicopter now airborne as the ceiling continues to raise here in Pocono. Welcome back, everybody. Rusty Wallace still leading. Jeremy Mayfield, Ricky Rudd, Tony Stewart, John Andretti, and Michael Waltrip now slowing. I wonder if maybe his car was the one that I thought was having a problem, or it may be totally unrelated.
It blew up.
It blew up.
Yeah.
Hold your line. Keep it on the bottom. One more outside.
So, engine failure. You heard Michael say it blew up.
Eli, he's not coasting, though. He still has the motor running at the moment. So, apparently, whatever it is, it may be a push rod or a valve spring or something, but the car's still under power.
I'm running under power. I don't have to do that. Okay, they thought you were out of power. That's okay. Clear right there.
There you see NASCAR timing and scoring in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. Napa inviting you to stop by any Napa Auto Parts store in June for the chance to win a new car for life.
Well, he's on borrowed time. I just heard that when a Waltrip came by that time, I mean, it really sounds bad. So it's a drop valve in the motor itself. So it won't be long before that thing gives up the ghost, most likely.
And there you see the smoke.
Well, boys, the gun is blowed up, so we'll get her to the pit, maybe, and we'll check it.
Michael Waltrip.
What do you turn in at?
Trying to figure out where to turn in here. They have all sorts of escape roads on the back straightaway here, where the road course intersects the triangular oval, or roval, whatever you want to call the road course and oval combined here.
Eli, Well, he made a hard left there. They won't have the caution because he is out of harm's way. But at one time there, he was going to try to make it back to the pit.
And you see that other road there. That's one of the escape roads. That was part of the road course. So Michael Waltrip pulling off, and his day apparently done.
And Ricky Rudd now got in second spot.
They're going to put the caution out right now. They just felt that Michael might have been a little too close to the racetrack for his own good. And Rusty Wallace will take us to caution. You saw Michael pull off. There he is. But I guess when you think about it, if a car would spin off the upper portion of your screen there, Michael would be in a perilous area. So, Dick Berggren, they've had to bring out the caution.
Yeah, they have, and I just asked his crew chief, Bobby Kennedy, what happened. He gave it to me in just a couple of words. Blew up. And it's really a shame because Michael has run incredibly well since they unloaded that car here at Pocono. His career best finish was here. They thought they were going to have a terrific day. They will end the day in the garage instead. All are getting ready to pit on pit road, Eli.
Michael Waltrip finished second here back in 1988. His career best finish in a Winston Cup points race.
Well, he did everything he could to keep from having to bring out the caution.
Yeah.
He got as close to the inside wall and all, but NASCAR did the right thing there because you never know where these cars at 200 miles an hour might end up if they slide off. And the grass there is wet.
Right. David Hooch, who is the Winston Cup race director, the gentleman who actually runs the race during a race day, he got on the radio and says, fellas, got to do it. Sorry, this one's on me. Said Michael's too close to the track. And that is the primary responsibility there, making sure the driver's safety is taken care of. So we are under caution for the second time here today. The first yellow coming out at lap number 20 when Wally Dallenbach got in the wall with a touch from Sterling Marlin. And also Dave Blaney at the same time lost a right rear tire. Blaney is on the track. He's a couple of laps down. Sterling Marlin continued, and Wally Dallenbach is in the garage area. Oh, Ricky Rudd running second. You see him right there behind Rusty. Is he due? 3 top 5s in the last 5 races. So he's getting close to winning again.
Eli, it's just a matter of time. He runs too well every week not to win.
Finished second in both races here in 1996. Ricky Rudd did, and look at that. Everybody is coming in. Rusty Wallace, Ricky Rudd, Jeremy Mayfield, the top 3. Dick Berggren.
Robin Pemberton called the strategy on this pit stop, Eli. He said, Wallace chassis is running so well, let's not change anything. Let's go for 4. So Billy Wilburn's putting on the front tires. Rob Fuller is going to put on the back tires. Earl Barbin is on the jack. This is the last year you'll see him jacking. At age 35, he says it's about as long as you can do this. Slow on the rear. Rusty Wallace gets off, but he will not be in the lead.
A drag race down the pit lane. And there you see the pit numbers. Ricky Rudd's bunch the quickest. Meanwhile, look up pit road near the top of your screen. You see the hood up on a car. That is Bobby Labonte's Interstate Batteries Pontiac. He swept both races here last year. And now Bobby Labonte with problems during this pit stop.
And they're looking under the rear, under the front, trying to find out what the problem is. I tell you, he's the points leader right now. This is really, really bad if they don't find out the problem.
Bobby Labonte has a 98-point lead on Dale Earnhardt. Atop the NASCAR Winston Cup points, while Michael Waltrip gets a push to the garage. Welcome back, everybody. Hey, coming up on Saturday on TNN's Saturday Night at the Races, the ASA drivers travel to the I-70 Speedway in Odessa, Missouri. The Missouri 300, presented by Jani-King. It's another short track war Saturday night, 9 o'clock Eastern and Pacific, right here on TNN Saturday Night at the Races. So we are under caution. Michael Waltrip's car pushed towards the garage area. Mike Skinner is the race leader. And there's Bobby Labonte still on the lead lap, Dick Berggren, in 38th spot. What was wrong?
Quite a lot wrong, actually, Eli. The problem is the exhaust system. At first, he thought it was just a pinhole in the system, but it appears to be getting worse. It has burned through the heat shield, burning through the paint on the floorboards of the car. That could have two effects. One, on the performance of the engine. Two, on the performance of the driver. Labonte, defending winner of this race, defending champion here. He's in trouble today. Glenn Jarrett.
Okay, Dick, I'm down at the turn one into pit road right now. Came down here to check on a couple of things when the caution came out. First one was Jeff Gordon. He was running 10th when the first caution came out. He came out and was in 24th place. Robbie Loomis told me that they took a spring rubber out of the left rear, and they had a lot of trouble getting it out. That's why he lost so much track position. They continue to work on that car, though. On this pit stop, the car is very, very tight, so they're trying to free him up. The next car is number 5, Terry Labonte. He has consistently been one of the quickest cars on the track. It moved up to about 7th. Again, when the first caution came out, then he fell back a long ways. But I believe he's about 16th now. But his problem was they had a lug nut hang up on the first pit stop. The last pit stop, they changed 4 tires, put fuel in the car with no flaws whatsoever. Just a quick note, guys, the 8, 10, and 31 only changed 2 tires that time.
And that accounts for the fact as to why Johnny Benson in the 10 is running in the 3rd spot right now. Although that team has had some good runs, certainly at times over the years. But there you see that number 10 machine right up there in the 3rd position. You know, it's interesting. We're just thinking about Bobby Labonte and all of his problems and how he was going for a three-peat. Well, no driver has won 3 straight races here since Tim Richmond swept them both in '86. And the first of '87, Bobby Allison won 3 in a row in '82 and '83, so it has been a while. There you see the Haviland Formula 3 motor oil point recap. Haviland inviting you to add more life to your car. Earnhardt would yield at this moment 2nd spot back to Ward Burton, but obviously we're still early, just 39 laps of 200 complete.
Eli, talking about Bobby Labonte, the exhaust is well over 1,200 degrees underneath that car. They have a heat shield in there, and the doctor just said it's burning through that shield. If it gets up in there, it makes it very hot. And if it burns a hole in the exhaust itself, the fumes come up in the car. So that's not a very desirable thing.
You know who really benefited from this last pit stop was Mark Martin. He was running in 21st before the pit stop. Now he is running 10th.
Ready. Great.
So on this wintry-like June day here in the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania, we're back racing. Look at Dale Earnhardt Jr. swing out and Jeff Gordon. That's one of the classic shots in all of racing, the main straightaway at Pocono on a restart.
I saw some smoke. Somebody really got in problems with their motor on the restart there. I noticed a lot of smoke as they restarted there.
Looked like it was Stacy Compton, possibly. Though he is running out there. We're somewhere in that vicinity near he and a couple of others on the start. There's Dale Jarrett in the 88.
Oh, boy, I tell you what. You're not supposed to go through that corner too wide, but you notice several cars there running side by side all the way through the tunnel turn. Now they're in turn 3. The outside groove is usually slower, but those guys are really making these cars handle well off the corner, not losing anything to the cars on the inside.
That's back at 20th place that you're looking at right now. Look at Earnhardt.
Bump drafting. He's pushing Joe Nemechek into 33 down the straightaway, just bumping him a little bit. Picks both cars up about 200 RPM.
Matt Kenseth, we saw the gold and black DeWalt car. Had an idea to try and go 3 wide into turn 1. That's not supposed to work.
Ooh, that's more than bump drafting there. That's going to get ugly as Earnhardt goes up the middle here.
Over the tunnel. You almost slide right through that turn, don't you?
I tell you, it's more fun than you can believe. You get down there, you're running about 195 miles an hour, and you just give it a little cop. You just turn it in there and just turn it back to the right a little bit and just let it slip through that corner. It's a lot of fun to drive through there.
Now, Stacy Compton is making an unscheduled pit stop, so that smoke that we saw on the restart, actually he's going right to the garage. So we were correct in our assumption there. Stacy Compton had problems on the restart. Dick, what was it, a tranny going?
Yeah, it's a transmission, Eli. He's stuck in gear, so he's gone in the garage to try and repair it.
So he is joining Wally Dallenbach and Michael Waltrip in the garage as Tony Stewart in that number 20 spot picks up 5th from Bill Elliott in the number 94. Mike Skinner is still the race leader by 0.4 of a second. Took over the top spot at lap number 37. We're now at lap 42 of 200 here in Pocono. TNN Sports live coverage of the Pocono 500 is being brought to you by Napa. Stop by any Napa Auto Parts store in June for the chance to win a new car for life. And by Team Monte Carlo, the cars more champions depend on. Chevy, we'll be there. On a Monday morning, we welcome you back to Pocono International Raceway. You're looking at the 4th place and 5th place scramble right now. Jeff Burton, who has not had a top 5 finish since the race at Martinsville in late April. So certainly he is due. And Rusty Wallace, who has picked up over the years some significant wins here. He has 3 victories. And remember, he was leading here in July of '95, had to pit for fuel with 15 laps to go. He was also leading here a few years ago when the right side window came out of the car and he had to stop to put in some new pop rivets there. He would have won here in June of '96 if he hadn't burned out the clutch. I mean, he probably could have had 6 or 7 wins here by now.
Yeah, and the car is just I mean, it's a bullet. He went by Jeff Burton, and he's opened up a 15-car lead in just 2 laps there. So no matter what they do on pit stops, that car is coming back to the front.
Remember the 10, Johnny Benson, only 2 tires on the pit stops at lap 37. That's 10 laps ago. Just hanging right there is the Lycos machine.
He's been that way all year long. The longer they run on the tires and think the car always has great balance, and I think it has to do with Johnny Benson just being so very good at setting the car up, because all year long this car has been potential winner.
You know, it's interesting, Glenn, he doesn't come in but for 2 tires. You automatically think, well, he's going to drop back, and that's not been the case.
Well, no, Eli, and I'm a little surprised that more guys didn't do that, because that caution came only about 5 or 6 laps after they had just been in the pits, 10 laps at the most. So they really didn't have that many laps on those left side tires. And left side tires don't get quite as bad a wear factor here as they do at some of the other places. So good, smart move by Benson and Dale Earnhardt Jr., Mark Martin, a couple other guys, just to change 2 tires, because, like I said, they only had just a relatively few laps on those left sides anyway. If they weren't going to make major chassis adjustments where they needed to change a full set at a time, that was a smart thing to do. Certainly paying off for him and others right now.
Well, we get to find out who's got the muscle now as the 2 car is moving up right now. Rusty Wallace is absolutely flying up through there as he moves up on Tony Stewart now. Tony Stewart taking a look at Johnny Benson on the inside as they head down toward Turtleton. But I'll tell you, Johnny Benson's got a very fast car. And I stutter a little when I get excited.
1 3/10 seconds behind race leader Mike Skinner. This scramble right here. And Rusty is 1.7 back, as you see. Now 1.7 seconds is from the last car to the front car, Mike Skinner. That's what it looks like here at Pocono International Raceway. .49 of 200 laps on the board. There have been 11 different winners in the last 16 Winston Cup races here at Pocono. Welcome back, everybody, live at Pocono International Raceway on this Monday morning. A day delay due to rain and fog. We have had a change there in the 2nd spot. Tony Stewart, just a lap ago, made the pass on John Andretti. Here's first where he passed for 3rd spot, going around Johnny Benson in the number 10.
Handling quite well down the straightaway there. He got a good run up out of the corner there. That dictates how fast they run down in turn 1. Stewart's car just very, very quick.
That gave him third spot. He then went around Andretti to grab second, and now he's setting his sights on Mike Skinner, whose somewhat comfortable lead is now down to about 3.5 car lengths.
Yeah, it's like Stewart all of a sudden somebody said, okay, go ahead and start running, because he is flying up through here. Car's been very, very good in the corners, but whatever they've done to this car, I think they've made some air pressure adjustments or something, because he has really picked it up here.
You really have to dial a car. It's kind of like playing a tough golf course where you have to use every club in the bag. Same thing here at Pocono. It's just not standard by any stretch of the imagination. Look, Skinner goes up the limited banking, and Stewart has started salivating.
Not only that, he's starting to take over the lead. As they go down the tunnel turn, this ought to be simple.
And indeed it was, just out dragging Skinner down the Long Pond straightaway to turn number 2. So Skinner leads from 37 to 53, and Tony Stewart will take over at lap number 54. Let's check in Tony's pit.
Well, we're down here and everything is very, very calm. You might not even know that he took the lead. This is the 5th race in a row that he has led in Winston Cup competition. What's interesting about that is he hadn't led any until Richmond 5 races ago. But, you know, a lot of people are saying that Tony Stewart all of a sudden is just flying. But if you look at the record for year 2000, every race he finished except Daytona, where he had a pit road problem, he was in the top 10. So he hadn't been leading, but he had been running well. Now he's leading, and now he's winning. He's won 2 in a row and leading here at Pocono.
And it's interestingly a mixed bag, too. He only led 69 laps at Richmond, only led 2 laps at Charlotte, and, of course, dominated at Dover, led 242 laps, and then last week ran until the rains, led 13 laps, and got the win in the Kmart 400 at the Michigan Speedway.
Well, Ricky Rudd right now is trying to hold off Jeremy Mayfield, who's looking to the outside. If he makes that stick, that's hero material, but didn't make it stick yet. You know what I was noticing? The 3 Pontiacs in the top 5 right now. They have had some problems this year with downforce, and they did get a addition to the rear bumper on the car that gives it more downforce in the corners. And the Pontiacs seem to be up to speed now. They can run with the Ford and they can run with the Chevrolet.
Lap number 55, still in the early to mid stages of the Pocono 500. Wally Dallenbach coming back 35 laps down. Remember that accident he had in lap 20 when he was hit by Sterling Marlin, went up into the wall?
That car looked like I looked before I shave in the morning. That's a pretty ugly looking piece going around there, I'll tell you.
But he's out there getting points, and we give you points for showing up too.
Thank you.
Wally Dallenbach 35 laps down. So that means Michael Waltrip and Stacy Compton are the only 2 drivers in the garage area right now. Michael Waltrip with engine failure. Stacy Compton can't get the car in gear, and they're working on a transmission problem. It's a cold, chilly, nasty day, but there's no rain, there's no fog. That's good. Thursday night, there's more arena football here on TNN. See if the Milwaukee Mustangs can slow down the San Jose SaberCats. A critical game for San Jose. Don't miss the hard hits from the Bradley Center in Milwaukee. I'll be there along with Ed Cunningham and Jill Arrington. Thursday night, 8 o'clock Eastern and Pacific, right here on TNN Sports. We'll see you Thursday from Milwaukee. Here in Pocono, Pennsylvania, Tony Stewart taking the lead at lap 54. We're now at lap 59 as we watch him work himself through the corners now and onto the straightaway.
Yeah, and if you're trying to find the flaw in that car, you can't do it because it's doing everything right at the moment. But you have to remember something else. Everybody's going to make adjustments every time they stop. And some of the cars that are back in the field right now, they'll make adjustments, and they'll be running like Tony Stewart before the race is over.
Now, everybody has taken the same basic approach there through turn 2. Now they're into the flat turn 3, and they're swinging through that turn where the RPMs drop down onto the main straightaway. But You were telling me during the commercial break, buddy, he said, watch what he's doing here. This is where he makes a bit of a different move than the other guys.
Okay, from the helicopter cam here, as he goes down in the corner, a very late apex. And when I say that, I mean he's going way, way wide and then cutting straight down to the bottom of the racetrack, whereas other people go in and go up the racetrack. He's making a square corner. He's going in like so and going across.
And that is saving him distance.
Well, and it also takes a lot of pressure off the right front tire because he's making his turn back on the straightaway and turning right across the racetrack. And I think right now it's working for him.
Another guy who is doing something that's working is Dale Earnhardt. There he is in the number 3. He's about to catch Bill Elliott for 11th spot now on the racetrack. And look at that. Since the restart after that Michael Waltrip caution, Dale's picked up 9 spots. Good to see Robert Presley moving up again. Do you realize that if it weren't for about, what, maybe 8 minutes on the clock last week, Robert Presley would have been a winner in NASCAR Winston Cup?
Yeah, and Ryan Pemberton has just went to work with him this year, and he's made a real difference there. And I'm sure that Robin and he, being brothers, they talk a lot about what good setups they have under the cars. And right now, he's turned Robert Presley's season around. They're a contender.
That's for 6th place on the screen. 99, Jeff Burton. 28, Ricky Rudd. There again, the battle for 11th and 12th. Now back to the other battle, trying to keep you abreast of them all. And Ward Burton's closing in too from that rear flank. He's right behind the 28. If you're a Stacy Compton fan, they've gotten their problems fixed with the transmission. He is coming back onto the track 20 laps down. There is Compton in the Kodiak Ford. So Stacy is back, meaning only Michael Waltrip is done for the day, gone with engine failure, and he will not be returning.
Just in front of these guys, John Andretti is in 4th there in the 43. These guys are picking it up, and as you said, Ward Burton has turned it up a notch too in the Pontiac. He's now starting to move up into the field.
He has not run well here at Pocono, Ward Burton, though the 43 car certainly has over the years. Ward getting in a Lancy.
he won't get that antsy going into this corner.
No.
Right around the bottom's the way to get through there, and then you let it sweep out right out against the wall when you have the car set up properly.
You realize that Ward has completed more laps this year than any other driver and has only 1 finish all season out of the top 20, which is the best of all the competitors in NASCAR Winston Cup racing. We're talking about Ward Burton and the number 22 machine.
And it's good to see Bill Davis, the car owner, have that kind of luck this year because he has really soldiered along, and now next year they're going to Dodge. So they want to do well this year and really set this team up for the coming year.
We're watching Mike Skinner. He has now fallen nearly 2 seconds behind race leader Tony Stewart. Dick?
Well, the conversation between Skinner and his crew chief is that they've got a vibration in that car. It may be a loose wheel. We saw that 3 times last weekend at Michigan. Loose wheels. Drivers had to come in under green and tighten them up. So far, they're not talking about that. But Skinner with a vibration. Vibrations don't go away.
No, and what it'll do is eventually break the studs off, or either the wheel will wobble. It starts out with a hole like this, and when it starts vibrating, it'll elongate like so, and it starts vibrating, and pretty soon you have a real problem.
But of course, you want to stay out there and hopefully catch a caution flag and make the change under caution. But you don't want to be the caution flag. We'll find out more about Skinner's problems when we come back. They call him the Rushville Rockets with crew chief Greg Zipadelli. They are leading today at Pocono. It's not all been peaches and cream, though. They spun at Atlanta, had the pit road contact at Richmond. But then with wins at Dover and the rain dance at Michigan, the season has turned around for the Home Depot racing team. Welcome back, everybody. Hope to get if you got a computer nearby, if the boss isn't looking and you're at work, whatever it might be, check out NASCAR Online. All the latest updated news from right here at the racetrack. Scoring as it happens. NASCAR.com, your 24-hour NASCAR Garage Pass. There's 8th place coming at your living room. Rudd, Ward Burton, Jeremy Mayfield, Jeff Burton. Let's not forget Terry Labonte there in the number 5. Everybody has a lane they like to use here. Yes. I guess it was here, was it not, when the late Neil Bonnet, for that very first time, started doing that snake routine down the front straightaway? And I remember...
I would figure you would remember that. He beat me that day. That
Did
was
he really?
Who he put it on, yes.
It's funny, you don't ever remember who finished second that day. But wasn't it here? It was the first time we'd ever really seen that.
I would have thought you'd have had some practice at that.
Good answer. Ricky Rudd leading that pack of traffic. He's in 6th now. John Andretti right behind him. That 43 car has always run well on flat tracks. Doesn't matter who's driving it. Even in Richard Petty's day, when they ran here, they ran Trenton, which was a flat track. Of course, at the road courses, Riverside, a flat track. He was always great there. Always, Petty Enterprises, they put out some great cars everywhere, but always you could count on them for the flat tracks.
Yes, I got to test in Richard's car a few times when I was teammate with him, and he was one of the first drivers that ever really tried real soft suspension and small sway bars and different things. And he and Dale Inman worked so well together, Dale Inman being his crew chief, that they hit on a combination, and about halfway, he would just eat you alive on the racetrack. I mean, just pass you and go away. And I never could figure it out, and all of a sudden I got to test in that car, and I went, wow, if I can do this, I could start winning races too. And it helped me just to do a test in his car.
Speaking of testing, are you still staying up here to test tomorrow?
Yeah, Ryan Newman and I will be up here tomorrow going through a test program. He's going to run the ARCA race in the 2nd race up here this year.
A lot of folks don't know Ryan Newman, but those who follow USAC racing, sprints and so on know him very well.
If they get in the Silver Crown car, they'll find out who he is pretty quick. He's a very talented young man. And anytime Roger Penske gives a guy a call, he has talent. So it's just a matter of getting him used to the racetracks and the cars.
There's Johnny Benson still running 3rd. Remember, he took 2 tires when everybody pitted at lap 37. And Glenn, he's hanging right there.
Yeah, you know, I've been very impressed with his lap times. I've been watching him for the last 10 or 15 laps. He right now was the quickest car on the racetrack. He ran a 54.822. The rest of the cars are in the high 54s or low 55 second bracket. So the 2 tires certainly didn't slow him down. One other thing about Johnny, he had an ear infection earlier this week. So when everybody got ready to come up to Pocono, his doctor told him, absolutely no way do you get on an airplane. You cannot fly at high altitude. Most airplanes are not going to fly at low altitude. So Johnny rode up here in the tow truck with the truck driver. So had an interesting trip on the way up, and he's having a great day here at Pocono. He's going to take 2nd from Mike Skinner pretty soon, as you can see him closing in there. Skinner's car pretty tight right now. Johnny's is free. He likes it.
I hope the doctor gives him the all clear this week, because Sears Point out in Sonoma, California is a long drive otherwise.
And how many times have you watched drivers when they say they're sick,
they
have the best run they ever had in their life? I mean, he's doing very well right now, and you couldn't ever tell that he had a problem at all. Whoa, they're dodging a piece of metal there on the front straightaway.
You see that? Caution. They just saw them dodge that piece of metal on the main straightaway. And caution, Jeremy Mayfield in at lap number 72. So Mayfield in at lap number 72. Debris is on the racetrack. You saw that piece of metal that they were dodging here on the main straight. Now, Jeremy had already entered pit road prior to the caution being displayed. Tony Stewart is the race leader.
The one good part about that, Eli, is he won't lose a lap. The racetrack is so big. He's back out there. He's on the tail end of the lead lap. And as everybody else pits, he'll be right back up there.
And you say, well, this track is no bigger than Daytona, and it's smaller than Talladega. But again, not to belabor the point, but without banking here, it's a flat track. takes you darn near a minute to get around this racetrack, whereas at Talladega, Daytona, 48, 49, 50 seconds. Those 10 seconds are a big difference as Robin Pemberton tries to get warm. TNN Sports live coverage of the Pocono 500 is being brought to you by UAW GM. Assembly line to finish line, teamwork wins. And by Valvoline Max Life, the first motor oil specially formulated for higher mileage engines. Pit Road, the busiest place in the Pocono Mountains today. Dick Berggren.
Well, Tony Stewart has come and gone. He had called into his crew and told them the car is perfect going in, perfect coming out. Just don't change that. Get rid of the push in the middle. They did it with air pressure. Only change they made, they had a good stop. Glenn?
And I'm down to Rusty Wallace's pit. Rusty's been fighting a tight race car as well, and so they made an air pressure adjustment. Also, they made a wedge adjustment on the car, so the car a little bit way tighter than Rusty wanted. Now let's talk about his teammate, Jeremy Mayfield, in the 12. Mayfield was on pit road when that caution flag came out. He went ahead and took the 4 tires. They went ahead and did the pit stop. Now when things cycle around, he should be right up at the lead of the pack.
Indeed, that's how things will cycle around. The piece of debris that the team started dodging, Bill Elliott was unable to dodge. The piece of metal got lodged underneath the McDonald's car, but there was no significant damage. He came around. They took a look under the undercarriage of the car. Everything was intact, no problems, and Bill is able to continue. But he was the guy who finally couldn't dodge the debris, ran over it, and carried it around for the remainder of that 2.5 miles. The infield's a bit down capacity-wise today. The grandstand darn near full on a Monday. Jeremy Mayfield, the man who is now leading here at Pocono, Pennsylvania in his familiar number 12 machine. He's won at California. He won here at Pocono for his first career victory back in 1998. Jeremy Mayfield leading the Pocono 500. Welcome back, everybody, as the Rusty Wallace and Jeremy Mayfield teams look on. Everybody's checking the radar again. You see the ceiling beginning to settle down one more time. Here at ground level, it's still pretty good visibility. But you see things are starting to drop down yet again. The spotters huddled for chill. When I got up this morning, turned on the Weather Channel, it was 54 degrees. And I'm sure the temperature has dropped since then, and the wind has really picked up. It's, I mean, it's still winter up here in summer.
They had a great summer. It was last Thursday. Wow, it's cold here.
There you see how your favorites did in their pit stops. Everybody came in at lap number 74. All right, Terry Labonte lost 10 spots. Elliott there with 9 or another 10 spots that he lost. We continue under caution. Quick reminder, if you're looking for action on Wednesday night, well, you've come to the right place. TNN has this great lineup of shows: Dead Man's Gun, 18 Wheels of Justice, and The Magnificent Seven. It's a whole night of action every Wednesday right here on TNN's Action Wednesday. Eli Gold, Buddy Baker, Glenn Jarrett, Dick Berggren. That's the broadcast crew for this Monday's race here in Pocono, Pennsylvania. As we get set to go back to green shortly, a quick run through the pits. Dick?
Well, an update on Bobby Labonte, the points leader coming into this race, Eli. Remember, early on, they were concerned about an exhaust leak in the car. That exhaust leak is still there. Bobby is doing fine physically. They are, however, very concerned about the engine. They have also had brake problems and have had to pull some tape off some of the brake ducts. The brake pedal was going down much further than they wanted. So, a tough day for Bobby Labonte. To Glenn.
Hey guys, I moved over to John Andretti's pits. John's been in the top 5 most of the day. He came out back on the racetrack that time in 9th position. They had a pretty good pit stop, 16.4 seconds, but they had to make some adjustments on the car. The car had gotten to where it was a little tight getting in the corners and loose off. So they made some wedge and air pressure adjustments on that car. So they're hoping it'll get him back up front like when the race started. But he still had a pretty good race car all day long. And Eli, the temperature is up to 13 now from 12.
I hear you. You see the STP crew reviewing their pit stops. They all tape their pit work. As the green is in the air, we are 23 laps from halfway. Everybody driving with one eye on the racetrack, another eye skyward. This is a very interesting time in the schedule, too, running here in Pennsylvania and then having to be at Sears Point in California the middle of the week. A lot of fellows have appearances there as early as Wednesday, and with weather still circulating in the area, kind of a scary time. Rusty Wallace helping shove Tony Stewart past Mayfield and into the lead. So Mayfield leads laps 75 and 76. Tony Stewart retakes the lead lap 77 here at Pocono. "37 cars still on the lead lap. The first one not on the lead lap is the 55 of Kenny Wallace, that square D car you see coming. And here goes Rusty Wallace for the lead.
Just goes right by, down in the corner there. Jeremy's going to try to close the door on the 20 car as they come off the corner. It's going to be tough to pass that 20 car down the back straightaway, though. Tony Stewart's been very fast, but they're bump drafting to get by him now.
Rusty Wallace led laps 1 through 22. He then led laps 27 through 36. He takes over now at lap number 78.
Eli, it's really nice to have a teammate in a situation like that. Jeremy just got behind Rusty Wallace and got in the slipstream there. Just like at Daytona, Talladega, 2 cars run much faster than 1 car, and they just went right on by.
Behind Rusty, some great scrambles going on.
And you see stuff flying out from under the car. That's rubber that's worn off the tires and gets up in the inner fenders there. And as they run around here, there's vibration and it falls out like that.
10, Johnny Benson. 22, Ward Burton. 3, Dale Earnhardt. 31, Skinner. The black and orange number 28, Ricky Rudd. Addison 4th on back through 8th.
Boy, Earnhardt's on a charge right now underneath Benson as they head down into the turn 3 there. He'll get the spot as they go down in the corner. As I was saying.
And there you see the pass take place right off the turn. Earnhardt sizing up Ward Burton for 4th.
Yeah, he's going to drive her right on down in the corner, break late there. Ward Burton drives deep down in the corner, but right there you get a little bit of push in the middle part of the corner, and Earnhardt right now didn't actually get by him. I thought he'd drive right on by him in the center part of the corner.
Say, looking back on my notes from Daytona during speed weeks, Ward Burton said to me, as you see Ricky Rudd take away 6th spot from Johnny Benson, and Earnhardt take away the 4th spot from Ward. Ward Burton told me in February that at Pocono in June, just before halfway of the season, his goal was to be 7th in NASCAR Winston Cup points. And right now he's 3rd, and actually had been in 2nd. So it's been a wildly successful year for Ward Burton to this point, exceeding his hopes and expectations.
Dale Jarrett seems to have made some adjustments on the 88 car now. He's passing Jeff Burton down the back straightaway there. They start to hook up and draft down the straightaway, but I think Jarrett finally has his car working a little bit better.
Yeah, Glenn, looks like your brother's car is finally dialed in.
Well, they're getting closer, Eli. They've been working on it since the race started. The car started with a plow push condition. I mean, he absolutely couldn't turn it, and they kept making adjustments. That time in, they changed the little air pressure and took 2 rounds of wedge out of the car. Dale has radioed back, said it's the best that it's been. They still need a little bit more, but he's a lot happier than he was. And for that matter, so am I.
Dale Jarrett, he and Mark Martin have both finished in the top 5 in each of the last 6 races here at Pocono International Raceway. And when you compare to what this season's been like for Dale, he has 4 straight top 5 finishes now. versus 4 in the first 10 races of the year. So the 88 car on the move today, and obviously on the move here as we near midway in the 2000 racing season. 18 laps from halfway. Tony Stewart's crew resting up for the next pit stop. Rusty Wallace, driver of the Miller Lite Ford. He's had bad times and good times at Pocono. That was bad. That was good in 91 and in 94 and in 96. He has 3 wins here at Pocono International Raceway. Welcome back, everybody, live at Pocono with Buddy Baker, Glenn Jarrett, Dr. Dick Berggren. I'm Eli Gold. There are the Penske Cranifus cars. They are first and second. That's some other good scrambles. There comes Tony Stewart. Then Rudd and Earnhardt. Old Dale starting to rumble now.
Yeah, but Rudd got by him this last lap just before we got back from break there. And Rudd turned it up a notch. But Earnhardt is running very, very quick. I think right now they're just working up through traffic, following each other through there. Because I do believe Ricky Rudd has something for him if he can get back up to the front.
Old Dale Earnhardt. At this point last year, Earnhardt had 348 fewer points than he has now. I mean, he has not a single race in which he has failed to finish this year. He has 6 top 5 finishes already this year versus 2 at this point a season ago. Consistency. We preach about it all the time as you watch that lead battle go off in turn 1, Wallace and Mayfield.
You're exactly right about Earnhardt. Every track we go to, I look to see who the money winner is at each racetrack, and it's always Dale Earnhardt. He's won $953,000 at this racetrack.
I believe it. And statistically, this has been far from his best racetrack. Over the years, if Dale Earnhardt doesn't win, he has not really had good finishes. There he is, just biding his time in 5th spot right now.
You know, if he does, and right now it looks like he is definitely a contender for the 8th championship.
Oh yeah.
Would that be something? I mean, to win 1 Winston Cup championship is a great deed, but 8 times, that's just unheard of.
A lot of guys over the years have done some spectacular things. Cale with his 3 consecutive championships.
Oh, yeah.
That's tough. Look at Earnhardt now. 31 down to Bobby Labonte in the NASCAR Winston Cup point chase as of this second.
Eli, you know, about 5 or 6 years ago, that whole team was restructured, and they lost a lot of key people. And everybody said, well, what happened to Earnhardt? Has he quit driving? Is the team itself going away? No, they had to rebuild. Jeff Gordon's going through pretty much the same thing right now. And you just have to wait for these people to put everything in place and get everybody in the right spot.
Takes a while for the organization to kick in and so on. And it's all starting to come. Just joining us, we are 11 laps shy of halfway. There is Joe Nemechek. Now, as opposed to some folks who haven't done well at Pocono, Glenn, this is one of Nemechek's favorite racetracks. This stretch from Dover, Charlotte, Dover, here. He really looks forward to this stretch every single season.
Yeah, he does, Eli, and he normally runs really well here. He's got a big problem right now. He was running in the top 15 or 20 before that last pit stop. He was up there with Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon, Dale Jarrett, and that pack of cars. He is 37th now. He's way off the pace. They're talking, we hear them talking on the radio. They got some kind of carburetor problem. They're talking about even having to go to the extremes of maybe changing the carburetor on the car. So big problems for Joe right now. That's too bad because he does drive this place very well. But we'll keep an eye on that. But looks like they're going to have to make an unscheduled stop.
Joe has moved from 42nd to 24th in NASCAR Winston Cup points here in the last few weeks. And look now, though, from 10th to 37th position. But yeah, he's had top 5s here. He's finished 3rd here. I mean, he likes coming to this track, but the car's got to be working.
Yeah, and a couple of weeks ago at Dover, he made a pit stop under the green, and the caution came out 3 laps later, put him a lap down. He had a top 3 there, I think, if he'd have made pit stops with everyone else.
If you're just joining us, we have had 3 cautions today. One at lap 20, Wally Dallenbach hit the wall after being hit by Sterling Marlin. Lap 36, Michael Waltrip, after engine failure, stopped off the track, but too close to the race to continue, too close to the track. Had to put out a caution to remove Michael's car. Then there was a big old piece of metal that came out onto the racetrack. Bill Elliott ran over it. Bill was able to continue, but that was our 3rd caution. Only one driver in the garage. That's Michael Waltrip, out with engine failure. Wally Dallenbach has returned, 35 laps down. Stacy Compton was in the garage with transmission problems. He's back 20 laps in arrears. We've seen Rusty Wallace and Jeremy Mayfield lead today. Mike Skinner and Tony Stewart. Those are the 4 fellas who have led intermittently this afternoon, as we are now 9 laps shy of halfway. A day behind schedule, but I'll tell you, the resiliency of these fans. The folks have come, I would say, easily, looking around the grandstand here, though the infield is off a bit. But in the grandstand, clearly 90–95% of the folks have come back.
Must be a lot of rich people in Pennsylvania. There's many people here today. I know around Charlotte and all, people work on Monday.
Except when there's a race in town.
You got it.
You know the rule. Dale Jarrett, Dale Earnhardt. That is now Earnhardt leading Jarrett, 5th and 6th. You know, in the old days, when they had bias ply tires, they used to set up for turn 1. Many of the teams did, because it was the quickest, the highest speed turn. I remember when I was working out in turn 1 in radio, the cars would come through there and those tires would be squealing terribly. Now they set up for the other side of the racetrack.
Well, exactly, and the radial tire does not slip, where the old bias ply, you'd go down there. If you remember, the cars looked like they were always in a 4-wheel drift.
I remember that.
Through the corners, and now they're basically straight through the corner. You don't slide them like you used to.
Back onto the main straightaway, you look from high above Pocono International Raceway. NASCAR first began racing in Pennsylvania in 1949. We're still at it in the year 2000. There you see Pocono International Raceway, triangular as it is. They have been hosting stock car races here since 1971, when the USAC stock cars, the United States Auto Club, ran here. The initial NASCAR race was in 1974. But as we were saying before, NASCAR has run in Pennsylvania since 1949. They began at the circular Langhorne Speedway. Remember that one? Red Byron was the winner there of the pole. Curtis Turner won the race. And they ran at the Heidelberg Speedway in Pennsylvania, up near Pittsburgh. Lee Petty was the victor in that one. Oh, there's a little car slowing on the racetrack. Rick Mast having problems. He was in 21st position in the Conseco car. And Joe Nemechek, we told you about the problems he was having earlier, and Joe is being pushed to the garage area. So 3 laps shy of halfway.
Rick Mast very slow off turn 2 over there. He'll be lucky to get all the way back around. I guess he's going to make it, but he's coasting around bottom part of the racetrack.
Correct. 4, I got second.
Meanwhile, Rusty Wallace leads by 0.6 of a second. Meanwhile, Glenn, there's been a report that Jerry Nadeau may have a problem.
Well, I went down and asked his crew chief about it, Eli, and he said that there was no problem. They just got together with another car out there, and Jerry was afraid that it might have cut the tire, but they told him to run it a few laps. It's okay now, so they're just carrying on.
Rick Mast has made it back to the pits in the Conseco machine. There he is, and he's going to go right to the garage area, that hard left. So here in the last lap, Joe Nemechek and Rick Mast both to the garage. Dick Berggren, they almost made it to halfway.
And Nemechek almost made it to the garage, but not quite. They're taking a valve cover off. Joe, what's wrong with the engine?
Well, I'm not sure. Something happened inside the motor. You know, we were running so good there for so long, and just all of a sudden, we lost about a half a second on the racetrack in time, and just kind of felt flat. it just keeps getting worse and worse, so we got to see if we can fix it. Just too bad for Oakwood Chevy. Had a good qualifying run. I thought we were going to have a top 10 running car today, but that's how it goes.
Now the disappointment is obvious. Eli?
And he's wearing that special helmet that his son John Hunter painted for him in honor of yesterday being Father's Day. We had done a feature on that during our rain telecast yesterday.
Yeah, you can see the handprint right up here on the top part of the helmet right there. Quite unique helmet.
It really is a great Father's Day gift from John Hunter to his dad Joe, and they were very, very proud of that yesterday. Coming to the halfway lap. We always call it the hallelujah lap when you have to run on Monday. That means hallelujah, we're at a halfway and this race is official, and we've gotten it in. Nothing worse than hanging around a racetrack when it rains like yesterday. You're just chomping at the bit to go racing. And as they come to the crossed flags, the leader will be Rusty Wallace ahead of Jeremy Mayfield, Tony Stewart, Ricky Rudd, and Dale Earnhardt. 250 miles down, 250 to go here at Pocono International Raceway, live on TNN Sports. We are back with you here at Pocono International Raceway. After 102 of 200 laps, there's your top 5, brought to you by Valvoline Max Life, the first motor oil specially formulated for higher mileage engines. Eli Gold, Buddy Baker, Glenn Jarrett, and the good doctor, Dick Berggren, joining us. Glad you're with us on this Monday.
The good doctor.
Yes.
Yes, he is.
Editor of Speedway Illustrated magazine. Have you seen your latest copy?
I have, and I will tell everyone out there, if they don't have it, order it, because it is fun to read.
And a bill will be forthcoming for that commercial message. Rusty Wallace is the race leader. By the way, folks, if you're participating in TNN's Red Wing Shoes Work Hard, Win Big sweepstakes, you need to write down on your entry that at halfway, car 43, John Andretti, was running in 14th spot. And you might win one of 2 grand prize trips to a NASCAR Winston Cup race upcoming, or a grand prize Dodge Ram truck. Just go to your local participating Red Wing shoe store for an official entry form, or send your name, age, address, phone number, and the answer that John Andretti was running 14th, put that on a postcard, and send it to the address you see on the screen. Or maybe even easier, you can enter online at country.com. Either way, check it out. And hope to see you in an upcoming NASCAR Winston Cup race as a winner of the sweepstakes. The leader is Rusty Wallace. Rick Mast, we showed you taking the Conseco machine to the garage earlier. Let's get an update from there.
Well, last year in June at Pocono, Rick Mast was enjoying the best run of his year so far. This year, behind the wall, up in the air. Here's why. A broken rod end on a shifter. Couldn't shift it at all, Rick?
No, I went to downshift to third, going in 1, and it just freewheeled. It just fell off. How does that happen? You know what I mean? You never see that happen very often. The Heim's going coming apart. But I just feel bad for the guys. They've worked real hard on this car all week to get it here. It was real competitive. Qualified good. We was competitive out there. We were adjusting on the car. We got it off one time. The last pit stop, we got it back good. I was coming back up through there, and that fell off. But this Team Conseco bunch, they're pretty good. We'll get them at 2 points.
And the crew is still working hard on this car right now, Eli.
They really are. See some bizarre stuff happen sometime. Who was it? I guess it was it Schrader a few years ago at Sears Point, where the whole gear shift handle came off and he was shifting with the pliers or something. Remember that?
I did that at Riverside, and I was driving for Cotton Owens, and I come in and I just pull the whole thing up. Looked like and he said, "What do you want me to do?" It looked like you have an octopus in your hand. Everything was just right out the floor.
You and road courses, that was a love-hate affair.
Yes, it was. I either ran pretty well or not at all.
Yeah.
I did have a couple of top 5 finishes, but wasn't my forte, if you know what I mean.
A lot of guys who, in years past, were not good road racers are looking forward to next weekend's trip to Sears Point in Sonoma, California. But today, Dale Jarrett still running in 6th spot as he works the main straightaway here. Watch him shift. Right there, past the flag stand.
That didn't take long. Now watch when he goes in the corner down here.
He'll go into the corner, shifting right there again. Now, that's not really grabbing, is it? I guess it's, yes, grabbing a new gear, but it's more of an overdrive setup with these transmissions, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and it's only about 200 or 300 RPMs when you shift down like that. But boy, does it help down the short chute over going through tunnel turn, and also down in this area, a little bit shorter straightaway on the back.
Only 3 caution flags today. Right at this moment, 3 drivers in the garage. Michael Waltrip is done. And here comes Rusty Wallace. Rusty and Jeremy Mayfield with Wally Dallenbach to their inside. So Tony Stewart takes over the lead. These pit stops at lap number 107. Glenn?
Yeah, it's a little bit early, Eli. I asked Robert Pemberton a while ago, Rusty's crew chief, and he said they thought they could go to around lap 110, so not getting the fuel mileage that they hoped for. No changes anticipated this time on Rusty's car. With 4 tires and fuel, Rusty's down and away, and his teammate Jeremy Mayfield still working on the left side tires. Now Jeremy's down and away, and he will lose a good bit of time on this pit stop exchange.
You see Wally Dallenbach behind them. Here comes Schrader pitting now. Oh, everybody apparently going to start coming in just a tick early. Jeffrey Bodine is in. You see Schrader in that yellow car. And in the background, you saw Bodine's crew servicing the power team entry.
Eli, the one reason they might have made a little quicker stop than anticipated, you don't want to run out of fuel here. If you run out on the front straightaway, you don't coast all the way back around.
Yeah, you're done with no banking to help you.
Johnny Benson's coming down pit road also.
Indeed so. Pit stops now the name of the game at lap 108. Working under green here at Pocono. There is your race leader, but Dale Earnhardt now is going to come down the pit lane for a routine pit stop. That'll give the lead to Jeff Burton. Earnhardt will lead lap 110. Jeff Burton will lead lap 111. All of the teams have been coming in for service. The stops have been routine. There have been no problems. You see Bobby Hamilton leaving. Jerry Nadeau is coming in. Robert Presley is in. The pride of Berwick, Pennsylvania, Jimmy Spencer has been in.
You notice they're cleaning the windshield on the 3 car, where a lot of people use those tear-off sheets on it. Earnhardt don't like a lot of distortion in the windshield, so he runs straight up windshield, and they have to clean it every pit stop instead of just jerking that plastic off.
And there now again is the race leader. Jeff Burton took over at lap 111. He's going to stay out. He will stay out for at least another 2.5 miles. But all the other main players have come in. Ward Burton's already been in. Mark Martin stayed out. He's not pitted yet. We've seen Skinner in, and Jeff Gordon and Bill Elliott. Ricky Rudd was in. Tony Stewart came in at lap 110. Steve Park is on the pit road right now as we watch the 2 Roush cars, 99 and 6.
Yeah, and Jack Roush worked very hard on the carburation on these cars to get great gas mileage.
Under overcast skies, low temperatures. It is an official race now. We have gone past halfway. And let's see who's going to pit here. Mark Martin and Jeff Burton. Martin stay on the racetrack for another lap. So that gives Mark Martin the lead. He'll take the lead at lap 113 as Jeff Burton is in for his scheduled service. Matt Kenseth is coming in now. Dave Marcus is leaving the pit lane. All of these stops are routine. Elliott Sadler will pit at lap number 113 as well. 18.3 seconds for Jeff Burton. And there is our race leader, Mark Martin. Of course, remember, Don't probably have to remind you, but if you're new to NASCAR racing, lead a lap to get 5 bonus points. So Earnhardt's collected that as Mark Martin now comes in at lap number 114. So lap 114, Mark Martin will come in for service, Dick.
And he brings the car to a sliding halt. The decision to stay out on the racetrack was to lead 5. They wanted to get those 5 points, lead 1 lap. So far, it's a good, clean stop. He does have a tire mark in the left rear fender. Somebody has gotten into Mark Martin. As the water bottle goes out, good stop for Mark Martin. 18.6.
That hands the lead to Kevin LePage. And there he is. I'll tell you, the fuel mileage by the Roush cars is much more significant than anybody else.
Yeah, and they worked very hard on that. I did a piece last week in Michigan on that, and Jack Roush went through about a 10-minute talk with me about what he does to the car when they start building the motor right up to time of the race.
Also, having not yet made a pit stop will be Kyle Petty in the Hot Wheels number 44. Now here comes Kevin LePage. He will lead at lap number 114. And Kyle will take over as the leader at lap 115. So Kyle Petty taking over and leading for only the 2nd time this year.
They made a small chassis adjustment on the right rear there, the 16 car.
So Kevin LePage, his service is complete. And there is Kyle Petty. He led for 6 laps in Las Vegas back on March the 5th. And as you saw in the graphic, this then the 2nd time this season that he has led a race. A former winner here at Pocono, he is coming in. So at lap number 115, Kyle Petty will come in for service. This is really the first series of stops today that have taken place under the green. And now we cycle back around to Rusty Wallace. So as everybody else has been in for their pit stops, we now cycle back around to Rusty, who yielded the lead at lap 107 when he and Jeremy Mayfield came in for pit stops. So everything circles back around to where we were.
Wow.
Little John Force imitation there.
I was thinking back when he won here a few years back. He got out of the car. He had a handheld camera, and he took pictures of the people in winner's circle around him. That was really neat.
That was fun. So the race leader is Rusty Wallace. When he comes back to the stripe, we'll have an official speed and distance differential. He'll be up by roughly 1.5 seconds. Hey folks, make sure you check out one of the hottest shows on TV. See how federal agent Lucky Vanis brings in the bad guys with his high-tech big rig. It is 18 Wheels of Justice. Every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock Eastern and Pacific, it's a part of TNN's Action Wednesdays. Rusty Wallace is the race leader here at Pocono International Raceway. He's been basically the dominant car. He tested here last week and is using PC22 today. That's the car that ran at the California Speedway. Started 11th and finished 8th.
PC, that means it hadn't won yet.
Right, no name to it.
They name them when they win.
PC is Penske chassis.
Yep.
Other car in the picture there is Bobby Hamilton. He is a lap down in 30th spot. As Rusty will put him yet another lap down. That's Wally Dallenbach there, the 75. He's in 42nd. And Wally now being shown some 35 laps down after an extended stay in the garage area. There's Jeremy Mayfield, 2nd spot. He is 2.7 seconds behind race leader Rusty Wallace. Now Ricky Rudd, he's 5.1 seconds back, running in 3rd. And Tony Stewart, 5.5 seconds behind Wallace. He is running in the 4th spot. Next car that you'll see on our pan back is going to be Mike Bliss. That's the Viagra machine, running in 31st. He is a lap down in the 31st position. Dave Blaney, who had problems earlier, running in the 37th position. We'll wait for Blaney to pivot into a position. There Blaney is. He's running in 37th spot. And then Scott Pruitt behind him in the number 32. He's running in 38th. They are, in Blaney's case, 3 laps down, and in Pruitt's case, 5 laps down. There now is Ward Burton, the 22 car. Ward is 5th, 13.3 seconds behind our race leader, Rusty Wallace. Johnny Benson next. He is in 6th. Johnny is 14.5 seconds back. As you see, still part of this racetrack enshrouded in fog, but still not bad enough for the driver vision on the ground level to be impaired. Then you see Stacy Compton with the car number 9. He's in 40th spot, 24 laps back. And Dale Jarrett right there in 7th spot, car number 88. Dale Jarrett is on the lead lap, 16.5 seconds back. There's Dale Earnhardt. He's running 8th on the lead lap. He's 18 seconds behind Rusty Wallace. Then you've got Dave Marcus. He'll pivot into the picture next. He's in 32nd spot. Dave is a lap down. The Realtree camouflage entry. Then Mark Martin, 20 2/10 back, 20.2 seconds behind. He's running in 9th, but still on the lead lap. Number 90 is Ed Berrier. Had a great 4th place finish, subbing for Shauna Robinson Saturday in the ARCA race. Berrier is 33rd, 1 lap down. Then you've got Mike Skinner. Skinner on the lead lap, 15.9 seconds back. He's running in 10th position. There's Terry Labonte. He also on the lead lap in the 11th spot now. Terry is some 18 seconds back. 43 now is John Andretti. Andretti is 1 lap down in 34th spot. The 99 is Jeff Burton. He's in 12th spot, 24 seconds back of Rusty Wallace. There's 40, Sterling Marlin. Sterling's in 35th. He's a lap down. And Jeff Gordon, he's in 13th. He's 25 seconds behind the leader. Next into your picture will be Jerry Nadeau. There he goes by. 77 running with him, Robert Presley. That's their position. They are 14th and 15th, 25 and 26 seconds behind Rusty Wallace, respectively. Haven't talked about Bill Elliott. There he is. Bill Elliott now 27 seconds back. He is running in the 16th position, though still on the lead lap. Then we'll go back to Matt Kenseth. He is running in 17th spot. And Kyle Petty, he's running in 18th spot. Those gentlemen also remaining on the lead lap. Of course, Kyle was our race leader just a short while ago. Kenseth and Petty 36 seconds back. There's Rick Mast back on the racetrack. Rick is 22 laps down in 39th position now. Looking for Steve Park, LePage, and Chad Little. There they are in 19th, 20th, and 21st. They are 36, 37, and 37.2 seconds behind our race leader, Rusty Wallace. And there's Bobby Labonte. Haven't forgotten about him. He's running in 22nd spot, but he's had a myriad of problems today. But he remains on the lead lap. So too does Dale Earnhardt Jr. There's the red machine, the Bud car. He's in 23rd spot now, Jr. is. Behind him, Brett Bodine in the red number 11. He's running in 24th. And Kenny Wallace is with him there, the number 55 Square D machine. Kenny is 2 laps down in 36th position. There's Ken Schrader. He's in 25th place. Kenny is still on the lead lap, running in 25th position. Looking for Jimmy Spencer from Berwick, Pennsylvania, just about an hour down the road apiece. Spencer is running in car 26 in 26th place. He too is still on the lead lap. He's 39 seconds behind our race leader, Rusty Wallace. And you drop back to the 21 of Elliott Sadler, the 42 of Kenny Irwin. They are 27th and 28th, respectively. Jeffrey Bodine, the power team entry, there he is running in 29th spot. He is a lap down to the race leader, Rusty Wallace, and we cycle back around to Rusty, who is close to putting Jeff Bodine one more lap down. So we have shown you everybody except Michael Waltrip, who is out of the race with engine failure, and Joe Nemechek, who remains in the garage with a carburetor problem, as fans young and old have come back to Pocono.
Make your move, Tony.
Got it, Joe.
You know, at times like these, I'm glad I'm driving the wide track Grand Prix.
With handling like this and this, I can really turn a race around. On the way to the winner's circle, wider is better. The wide track Grand Prix by Pontiac.
Back at Pocono with a chance to remind you about wrenchhead.com, with millions of brand name auto parts and accessories to choose from. It's easy to prove that you're a wrench head. Are you a wrench head? Wrenchhead.com, parts online all the time. Buddy, you a wrench head?
No, Mr. Lunchbox, I'm not.
Mr. Lunchbox. Uh-huh. Little mudslinging, huh? Still early. 70 laps to go. There you see number 28, Ricky Rudd. He's in second spot, going by Jeffrey Bodine. Rusty Wallace, the race leader. Ricky Rudd. You know something, Dick Berggren? 3 top 5s in his last 5 races. A handful of second-place finishes here at Pocono. So Ricky could win today. He's on the move.
Yeah, he's got 3 second-place finishes here, and he's got Michael McSwain as a crew chief, and that's always an added bonus. Michael, how is your race car?
We're pretty good right now. The car's been good since we got here, and just been biding our time, kind of waiting to the end. We'll see what happens here.
I just saw one of your crewmen run all the way up to the other end of pit road and grab somebody else's tire. What are you doing?
We found a set of tires we really like, and we're trying to just keep one more set for the end.
Saving the best for the end, Eli.
That's the strategy you got to employ, whether it's here or anywhere. Got to be around and in contention at the finish. You see Rudd closing in on Kenny Irwin. Kenny was just put a lap down by Rudd. And around goes Spencer. Caution is on the speedway.
Stop car. Wow.
I'll tell you, that grass is full of rain. He's just hydroplaning across there. Jimmy Spencer. Caution, lap 131. And he does, as you see, drive away.
A little damage to the front valence. Left front tires flat. Roof flaps are employed there.
Jimmy Spencer is home in Berwick, less than 40 miles away, Berwick, Pennsylvania. And caution is on the speedway for the 4th time this afternoon. The car just wouldn't woe down there. Let's watch it again and see what causes him to break loose the way he did. Spencer's in the 26.
He goes up high there. The back of the car just gets away from him, and Kenny Irwin does a great job there. They make very light contact, and around goes Spencer, and it hits that grass. It looks like it picked up speed instead of slowing down.
It does. It reminds me of what happened when Tim Richmond hit the grass here many years ago. I mean, the car just really picked up speed as it skidded across the lawn. You know who did a great job there was Ricky Rudd. I mean, when Irwin had to check up, Ricky was on that brake pedal in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and the right rear corner of that car has a substantial amount of damage to it where he got up into the outside wall, and Kenny Irwin had nothing to do there. I mean, he was on the brakes, but when a car hits a wall like that, it just stops automatically right in front of you.
So caution brought out by Jimmy Spencer, who's had a 4th place finish here. Remember last year on our telecast, it was on Father's Day, and he was leading?
Right there, the same spot.
Yep.
He got into the wall.
Exactly. He showed his dad, Ed, in the pits, just cheering his son on in the same location. Jimmy had those problems just a year ago. So caution is out. If you're just joining us, only 2 drivers in the garage area. Michael Waltrip with engine failure. Joe Nemechek, they're working on the carburetor on his machine. And here come the leaders with Wallace, Rudd, and Mayfield running first, second, and third to Dick Berggren.
And the nose of Ricky Rudd's car is caved in. He has run into something. They were talking about whether to make it a 2 or a 4-tire change. 4 tires are ready to go. Right sides are all done. Darren Wolf comes flying around as they begin to work on the nose. A new grill piece going out of the front end of Ricky Rudd's car. He had been running in second spot. Got to fix that to their own track. Glenn.
Rusty Wallace just completed his pit stop, guys. He had 4 tires and fuel. He had the car was, to put it in Tom Roberts, the PR guy's words, a tick tight in the tunnel turn. So they took a pound of air out across the nose, and they also made a chassis adjustment on the left rear of the car. And here's Dick with Ricky Rudd still in the pit.
Well, they should have done 4 tires earlier, but they didn't. They waited. Norbert Kujamizo was still pouring fuel in. They were still working on the nose, and they hadn't put any left side tires on. They just decided, hey, we're all the way at the back of the pack. Let's fire them on. So they just do the left side right now. Rudd, only driver, still on pit road at this end. They're still working on the nose of that race car. He hit something pretty good, Eli.
He sure did. The something good he hit was the back of Kenny Irwin when Kenny checked up after not trying to run all over Jimmy Spencer. It didn't look from the video as though Rudd made much contact, but clearly from what Dick Berggren tells us, there was a pretty good shunt or a tic-tac in turn 2. Welcome back to Pocono. The action began shortly after 10 this morning, and a few moments later, Sterling Marlin shoves Wally Dallenbach up into the wall. That brought out the first caution. Then at lap 36, Michael Waltrip, engine failure, pulls off the racetrack to bring out another caution. Lap 131, Jimmy Spencer spins of his own doing and ends up just shy of the inside retaining wall. And that is the caution that we are now wrapping up, as a little Dale Earnhardt Jr. fan is here with us at Pocono International. A whole bunch of youngsters are here. Of course, it's great. No school this time of the year. Oh, whoa. And all right, do I get you back now, or do I wait for the rest of the season?
Oh, boy. Sometimes you pay the price, you know.
So at lap 136, they are getting set to go back to green. There you see how your favorites did on the pit stops. And Glenn, Johnny Benson still running in the top 5.
Yeah, he came out 5th. The crew did a great job getting him in and out. 4 tires of fuel in about 16 seconds flat. I tell you, these guys have done a tremendous job here all week. Johnny's been pretty fast since he unloaded. Good race car. He's run up in the top 10 all day. They're looking for a good finish. They think they may have something to get them a little further up in the top 5. They're not sure they got quite enough to win. Just to cap this off, I told you how good Earnhardt's stop was. 15.71 seconds on his.
Oh, the green flag flies again here at Pocono. Lap 137 wrapped up, and Bill Elliott's coming down pit road. Bill Elliott, an unscheduled visit to the McDonald's drive-through at lap 137. Oh, a heartbreaker for Bill Elliott coming in for an unscheduled stop. See the car getting jacked up.
You would have to think maybe that he had a flat tire or one that had equalized and had a bad vibration in that car, because he went directly to the left side.
He'll become the last car on the lead lap. He'll drop to 26th spot. Routine once he got to pit road, the service was. He is already back onto the speedway. But Bill will stay on the lead lap. Remember, it takes you a minute to run a lap here at Pocono, so you don't lose a lap just by making an unscheduled stop.
We got a report that there was a tire rubbing, so they didn't want to take a chance. It was rubbing as he was going around, and apparently he had contact with another car out there, decided best get in, get a tire on there, and beat that fender out.
Check out the Napa Field standing update. You'll see where your favorite driver is running now after pit stops in the lake. And the folks at Napa remind you and invite you to stop by any Napa Auto Parts store in June for the chance to win a new car for life. 62 laps to go. Across the tunnel turn.
Matt Kenseth there in the 17, doing a good job today. He currently runs in about 6th or 7th spot.
Right, he's in 7th position right now. Very talented young driver.
Notice Mark Martin beginning to rumble pretty well, too.
And there you see the speeds. Well, in excess of 190 miles an hour as we go by the Midas wall camera. Brought to you by the new Midas. You're a whole new way to keep a good thing going. Go Midas.
This is going to be interesting. The 20 of Tony Stewart made it a couple of corrections on his chassis on the pit stop before this last one. And the car seemed to be pretty good on long run. Of course, the 2-car of Rusty Wallace has been a dominant car all day long. It's going to be interesting to see how they shake out now that they've adjusted and got all the cars pretty well right.
Dale Jarrett just dancing around in the rear view mirror there of Benson, and Kenseth goes inside of Mark Martin, the 17, that yellow and black car, to try and grab the spot away from Mark Martin, with whom we are riding now here on the main straightaway.
For those that don't know it, Mark Martin owns part of the 17 of Matt Kenseth.
Three wide on the Long Pond straightaway.
Well, I see 2 that won't give.
I see 3 that won't give, but Ward loses the exchange. Mayfield and Earnhardt, a good one over the tunnel turn.
Well, now
Earnhardt
what
was smart.
He'll try to drive under him as they come off the corner. Couldn't get her done. Jeremy gets good forward bite off the corner.
Rusty Wallace still leading by 4/10 of a second. Riding with Ward Burton now. He's in 3rd place. Last time by, but now drops to 5th place in the span of the 2.5 miles of that lap.
Yeah, and for people that were listening then, and you notice the motor never changed sounds, they don't use the clutch when they jerk them back into gear there. With these road racing transmissions, you just jerk it into gear. So the motor never changed sounds.
In the old days, I remember asking Kenny Schrader, I said, how you doing with shifting? This is at Daytona when he ran the road course during the Rolex 24. He said, what I've learned is never to key my radio while I'm shifting. He said, nobody should hear what I'm doing to the gearbox. But these road racing transmissions have really made road racers and another group of guys who never gave themselves that much credit. That is the 3rd. Wow. Earnhardt blowing right by Jeremy Mayfield.
Yeah, and he was very close to making a little contact as they were coming off turn 3 there, but he made the move very cleanly. Ward Burton now moves right in on the back bumper of Jeremy Mayfield.
So we've got a Ford leading a Pontiac, leading a Chevrolet in the top 3, and that's pretty much usual here at Pocono, because Chevy, Ford, and Pontiac have each enjoyed wins here in the last 5 years.
And if you want to know where the war is at, just watch this.
Like a restrictor plate race at Talladega.
Yeah, there's not enough room for all this going through that tunnel turn. Well, that's why they make the big bucks.
They're smart. You gotta think. I remember Darrell Waltrip told me years ago, and maybe folks' opinions have changed some, but Darrell said that turn 2 is the single toughest turn in all of NASCAR racing. And I asked him, even tougher than some of the Darlington turns and so on. He said, yep. And you can get in more trouble more easily at number 2 at Pocono than anywhere else. Look at that main straightaway going to turn 1.
Yeah, when you start talking about a preferred line, that's where you get through the best right now, because they're using the whole racetrack to race on right now.
There is the leader, Rusty Wallace. Took over most recently at lap 116. We're now at lap 143. Back after this. Friday night on TNN, the Monsters will be out. That's when those crushing, hard-charging monster trucks let it all hang out. Check out the action on TNN Motor Madness Friday night at 10 Eastern and Pacific. It's a part of TNN's Thrill Zone Friday. There you see the spread among the leaders. 0.3 of a second, maybe a dozen car lengths from Rusty Wallace back to Tony Stewart. Kyle Petty has taken his car to the garage area. As you see, third place Dale Earnhardt and fourth place Jeremy Mayfield. Kyle had this problem on the Long Pond straightaway.
Yeah, down the back straightaway. This is Kyle Petty's car there. The pulling over, Ed Barrier almost gets into the back of him.
You saw smoke come out of the header pipes there.
Yeah, exactly. The motor let go, and he did a very smart thing, going hard left in a hurry. But he almost got collected.
And Kyle drove around to the garage area and is apparently done for the afternoon. Tough break for Kyle Petty. He will become the third retiree in the event. Joe Nemechek is still in the garage. They're still working on his car. And Michael Waltrip with engine failure back on lap 36 will be the 43rd place finisher here today. You see Dave Marcus, 71, just came off pit road. Dave is building up some speed now after coming off the pit lane for service at lap 146.
I tell you the honest truth, I believe if Jeremy Mayfield and Dale Earnhardt catch these guys, they're every bit as fast as the lead cars at the moment.
On the computer, they are actually quicker last time by. 165.9 and 165.5 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's going to change it. Well, they fell back in and started following each other. Jeremy had an idea of getting by Earnhardt, but Earnhardt got a better drive off the corner.
Just about 3/4 of the way through this Pocono 500, delayed one day by rain. A pretty clean race today, only 4 cautions, one of which was for debris, and one of which was because Michael Waltrip, after losing an engine, couldn't pull far enough off the racetrack to be safe, and the caution had to be displayed. So really only 2 on-track incidents bringing out the yellow flag.
Yeah, and we saw Michael Waltrip up against the inside wall, and after Jimmy Spencer's fun just a second ago, you know why NASCAR deemed it to get that car off.
Here goes the battle for third. Mayfield got a great jump off the corner.
They need to settle this quickly and really draft back up on the lead bunch right now and not run side by side.
And again, you saw Earnhardt think about the outside, then at the tunnel turn, wisely settle in. Again, we call it the tunnel turn. It goes over the tunnel that leads beneath this racetrack from the infield to the area outside the track.
He allowed 2 cars running nose to tail, or about a half a second quicker around the racetrack than what they're doing right now side by side.
There you see behind them Ward Burton in 5th, Dale Jarrett 6th, Johnny Benson 7th.
That was more of a token pass. He let him by, then he goes after him again and makes a move, but they lost some time to the leaders by racing side by side.
Still heavy overcast, but it is getting a bit brighter out now. The fog has lifted and actually cleared out of the Pocono Mountains now, but the ceiling itself, the clouds are still fairly low. It is getting a tick brighter.
A tick brighter?
Yes, that's a scientific term.
A measuring device in the South. I know what it is.
Exactly right. Ask anybody in Alabama. They'll tell you what a tick is. So Rusty Wallace continues to lead here at Pocono International Raceway with Tony Stewart running second. Those 2 guys, Wallace and Stewart, have 2 8/10 seconds now on Dale Earnhardt and 3 seconds on Jeremy Mayfield. Now it's time for the question. You know me. I am from the same small town in Kentucky that produced the Waltrips and the Greens. I was the 1993 ARCA Rookie of the Year. And I got my first career NASCAR Winston Cup victory at Pocono 2 years ago, right here on TNN Sports. Take a good guess. I think you'll figure it out. You know me. You know me. I drive the number 12 Mobil 1 Ford for Penske Cranifus Racing, and I'm going for my 3rd career win this afternoon. I'm Jeremy Mayfield. You Know Me is brought to you by your neighborhood Citgo. The ongoing battle for the lead, Rusty Wallace, Tony Stewart. If you're a Joe Nemechek follower, he is back on the racetrack, 59 laps down. Remember, he went out with the carburetor problems earlier and whatever other problems ailed that team. Joe Nemechek back on the speedway. That is 5th place. Ward Burton and Dale Jarrett. Don't want to force the issue over that tunnel.
No, because they're closing in on 2nd and 3rd right now as they're motoring around here. Or 3rd and 4th, pardon me.
You saw Bobby Hamilton take one of the escape routes, the number 4 car. You just saw the leaders go by him as we ride with Ward Burton. And the shifting from Dale Jarrett. Well, he grabbed that one in a hurry.
That's a great transmission, I'll tell you that.
Would an automatic transmission ever work in a scenario like this?
It probably
Worth the
would.
darn?
It would, but it put a lot of taxation on your brake system trying to get slowed down because automatic transmission does not shift down like these cars are doing right now.
Right, the gear wouldn't hold you back.
Right.
Bobby Hamilton has gone to the garage area. So the Morgan McClure team now joining Michael Waltrip and Kyle Petty in the garage. Dale Jarrett has not led at all today. Rusty Wallace, Jeremy Mayfield, Mike Skinner, Tony Stewart. Then during pit stops, Dale Earnhardt led, Jeff Burton led, Mark Martin and Kevin LePage and Kyle Petty. They all led during the exchange of green flag stops. Ricky Rudd, meanwhile, running in 10th spot, Glenn, not where we've been used to seeing him today.
Well, Eli, you know, with that problem that they had when he got in the back of Kenny Irwin over there, those guys did a great job on repairing that car. I've been watching Ricky's progress through the field. Like you say, he's up to 10th now. He just took that from Kevin LePage. But his lap times are what I've been watching. His lap times are just as good as anybody else's out there. So when he's in free traffic, that's what you have to look for to see if that nose problem is an aero problem for him. It does not appear to be. He's only about 10.5 seconds behind now. If he could get a caution or something, actually about 10 seconds now, he's actually cut it down on Wallace. So that's all that Ricky might need. He's still running very, very strong. And I mentioned Kevin LePage having been in 10th spot before Rudd took it from him. He's running 11th now. Great, great day for Kevin LePage. I'll tell you guys, he started back in the field. He's moved his way up. He's doing a good job. Got a good race car looking for the top 10 finish.
And also just behind him, Bobby Labonte, who's stepped it up a little bit, even with the problems that we know he's having with the car being very hot inside with the exhaust leak that he has in the car. He's doing very well, and he stepped it up a little bit. He's moving up through the field.
Lap number 158 here at Pocono International Raceway. We're going to have ourselves a good battle for the lead. Back in just a moment. Welcome back. The battle continues. Wallace and Stewart. Rusty leading Tony by just those scant few car lengths. It's a good battle, Dick Berggren.
Well, it is a good battle, but you know, if you talk to Rusty Wallace or his crew chief, Robert Pemberton, at all this weekend, there was just one thing on their mind. Close the deal. They have been in the hunt to win race after race after race, yet this year they have won just a single event. Rockingham, they had the pole, had to refit for loose lug nuts. Martinsville, pole, led more laps than anybody, got a flat tire, finished 10th. Richmond, pole, led more laps than anybody, messed up with their pit strategy, finished 5th. They've got to close the deal. This is one of the best shots that they have had to win a race all year long. But they got some trouble right on their back bumper. Tony Stewart's car needs a little bit of adjustment as well as he's running. There's more to go in that automobile. One pit stop at least for both of them.
Indeed, everybody came in most recently at lap 133. And again, it's a 2.5-mile track, so they will be stopping one more time.
Yeah, and we're fixing to get a new sheriff in town. I think that 3 car is moving up. His times every lap on the computer here are faster than the lead cars. I've watched it for the past 3 laps, and they are closing in.
He's almost a mile an hour quicker, Earnhardt is, than Rusty Wallace last time by.
And now they're starting to race. I think Tony Stewart realizes they're closing in. He better get up there and get going.
And Tony Stewart, for the first time since lap number 109, has taken the lead here at Pocono at lap 163. So Tony Stewart takes over the lead from Rusty Wallace at lap 163. And now here come Earnhardt and Jeremy Mayfield. We're coming right back. More from Pocono. Glad you're with us live on this Monday from the mountains of Pennsylvania. Green flag pit stops for the second time today, unfolding at lap 164 and 165. On lap 164, Rusty Wallace came in along with Jeremy Mayfield. Mark Martin came in, and so did Ricky Rudd. So that man, Kevin LePage, has taken over the lead. Rusty Wallace's pit stop was a great one at 15.2 seconds. Ricky Rudd, meanwhile, spent a lot of time on the pit lane. Here come Rusty and Jeremy Mayfield. This is a couple of laps ago at lap 164. They were lightning fast. You see Rudd behind them there in the 28.
Yeah, they were lightning fast, and as things shook out, it didn't change the batting order very much at all. The 20 car got out there, and he's just in front of Rusty Wallace on the racetrack.
Tony Stewart's pit stop was 15.1 seconds. Oh, and LePage is in the wall. LePage is in the wall in the live action shot up there in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. He is the race leader. And Kevin LePage is in the wall but manages to continue on. What a heartbreaker. Kevin LePage took over the lead at lap 165, and he's in the wall, but will continue in for service.
Eli, you were talking about that tunnel turn. It just has almost a vacuum in there for these race cars.
This all taking place under green. There is no caution flag.
I don't think he realizes how hard he hit the wall. That right rear tire has cement dust all over it. He's been hard in the wall. Had to move the rear end housing over in that car somewhat.
Jerry Nadeau will take over as the race leader. Only the 3rd time this year that Nadeau has led a race. Dick Berggren, a lot of damage to LePage's car.
Yeah, there really is. The spoiler is pushed up in the air on that thing. They think possibly they cut a tire, and that may well have been what put him into the wall. What a shame. Kevin LePage was having a terrific day today until that point.
Now here is our race leader, Jerry Nadeau. He's coming in. You see on the lower portion of your screen, those stops were from earlier. Those are the stops at lap 165. Now as Nadeau pits, Brett Bodine will take over as the race leader. And watch, you saw a big chunk of left rear come away, cut the tire. The left rear, you saw it happen. You saw a big old chunk fly off as he must have cut it down somehow. You see the number 11 car, Brett Bodine, for only the 2nd time this year leading in NASCAR Winston Cup competition. He led 1 lap at Atlanta back on the 12th of March.
Eli, he's got a little bit of damage to the right front corner of that car where he's gotten into the back of somebody. You can see the hood right there up in the air just a little bit. But what a great run. And he has a new crew chief here, and he's been pretty good all day long. Mike Hellman has joined that team.
Indeed so, a veteran and one of the nicer guys in the garage area. Joe Nemechek is pitting. They are going to black flag Kevin LePage. Here comes Nemechek, who is already running some 60 laps down after a lengthy stay in the garage earlier. And there you see an on-track battle for 6th. Earnhardt has 6th, and Jarrett wants to grab it away. Still, two guys on the track have not pitted. Bodine, that would be Brett Bodine, and Elliott Sadler. They are running first and second, respectively, right now. As Brett goes off into turn number 1. And all of these stops that you've seen have taken place under the green. Brett's best finish here was a 4th in 1990. Bill Elliott back in for service at lap 170. No, he's going to go right to the garage. So Bill Elliott fans, your man has just gone directly to the garage area. Glenn, what finally put him out? What are they saying?
Eli, we just got a report right before he came down pit road that there was smoke coming out of the car, and when Eli came by, when Bill Elliott came by, when Bill did come by, the engine was shut off. So we have to naturally assume there was something wrong with the engine there because it was not running. And smoke had been reported. Tough luck.
Last time I made a lap here, though, there was smoke coming from my car as well. So that was an accurate statement. Here comes the leader, Brett Bodine. He is in for service now. So the 21 Citgo car has the lead until that second. You saw Tony Stewart go around him. So Elliott Sadler.
There comes Rusty Wallace to go by him also. He'll probably pit on this lap as the lead cars go by him.
Driving for the Wood brothers. Had that scary flip at Michigan a weekend ago. Everything will sort back around here in just moments with Tony Stewart leading Rusty Wallace and Jeremy Mayfield. That's how it will all shake down. Sterling Marlin is making a pit stop at lap number 171. And the new leader is now the 20 of Tony Stewart. So everything cycles back around here at Pocono International Raceway. The man who has led many a lap today, Tony Stewart, trying to go for the three-peat. Back after this. Tony Stewart has spread the lead by 1 4/10 seconds. You know the story. He's won 2 races in a row now in NASCAR Winston Cup competition. Trying to make the three-peat. Here comes Jeffrey Bodine. Now, he had not pitted in this most recent sequence, so he will come in with the power team entry at lap number 176, and the crew going to work. You know that Jeffrey Bodine ran a USAC stock car race here years ago in a Dodge Challenger. Blew the engine that day, but he's been here a while.
Yeah, and they're putting ether in that car. It was out of fuel when he came in. They were shooting ether into the back of the air cleaner there to get the car cranked.
Meanwhile, out on the racetrack, Kevin LePage missing some sheet metal, Dick Berggren, but running nevertheless.
I know where the sheet metal is, Eli. Here it is. Kevin LePage ran a couple of laps with this thing just dangling off the back end of his race car. Really scared a lot of the mechanics on pit road and went running over to NASCAR, said black flag him. They did. Kevin came in. Mechanic pulled on this, and now it's going to be some race fans souvenir in a den somewhere.
I bet it will be. Remember that day when Junior Johnson at Dover grabbed the old bumper off the car and just yanked it with his bare hands?
Yeah, and he could do that if it was hooked on.
Indeed so. There you see second and third having swapped around. The pass taking place just seconds ago as Mayfield beat Rusty Wallace going into turn number 1 and grabbed the position. We're just 24 laps in the finish. Tony Stewart's pulled away by 2 2/10 now from those two machines.
They need to hook up and really draft to try to catch up with Tony Stewart because he is stretching, as you said, Eli. And just behind them, Jared is moving up now.
Tony Stewart, really remarkable, did not even lead a race this year until Richmond, when he led 69 laps, led 2 laps at Charlotte, And of course, last couple of races at Dover, led 242 of the 400 laps. And then, as we know, at the Kmart 400 last week, led 13 laps, 26 miles. Then the rain came. Not a great number of laps led today, but if you need the right one, it doesn't matter.
Eli, they changed, and they have a brand new tire that they're running now. It's a little more stagger built into the tire itself, which means the left side's a little bit smaller than the right side, giving it more stagger. And what's happened there is all the notes that they had from last year are basically no good. So a lot of people were searching, and I think Tony Stewart and all the guys finally worked it out, and they've got the car handling the way it should again. They call it new generation.
We had mentioned it a few moments ago. We had a swap for second spot going off into the corner. Jeremy Mayfield and Rusty Wallace. Here's how that looked.
It looked easy.
Yeah, Rusty just drifted up. And Mayfield had second. And Glenn, Rusty's fallen off the pace just a little bit now.
Yeah, Eli, his lap times have really slowed considerably compared to the other guys in the top 5 right now. In fact, he is the slowest running car in the top 5, or actually all the way down to about 8. The problem is the car has gotten tight on this particular set of tires. And it just, for some reason, just doesn't like this set. The car is very, very tight, particularly off of turn 3 and over in the tunnel turn. So Rusty having a handful right now.
Dale Jarrett is running well. He's in 4th.
Yeah, and he's catching Rusty pretty quickly now.
Laps from the finish as we ride with Dale Jarrett on the main straightaway.
Going down into turn 1, he'll shift back again and really head down that back straightaway. That's all the times that they shift around the racetrack in that particular car.
There comes Jarrett back out of the corner. See Scott Pruitt in the Tide car, giving the contenders all the track room they need. Let's see, where will he make the pass, do you think? In or off of turn 3?
Well, you can see that the car is handling much better right now. Rusty, I've seen him put his hand up. He knows that he has a much quicker car. I would say somewhere about right now, he'll look for the bottom part of the racetrack and motor right up the side of him as they come down the front straightaway.
And while this is unfolding on the racetrack, Johnny Benson has just gone to the garage area. What a heartbreaker for the Lycos team, as well as they've been running all day long. Is Mayfield. He is 2.9 seconds behind Tony Stewart. And now Jimmy Spencer going to the garage also. So all of a sudden, after a limited attrition rate for much of the day, we have seen Bill Elliott, Johnny Benson, and Jimmy Spencer go to the garage here in the last few moments.
And Rusty continues to fall back. Dale Jarrett passed him just a lap ago, and he's already put about 10 car lengths on him.
We are at Pocono International Raceway on a Monday, waiting to see if Tony Stewart can three-peat in Winston Cup racing. Well, that was a full-bodied sedan just a short while ago. Now it looks more like a mid-size at best.
Gremlin.
Yep. A lot of gremlins getting to that race car here today as they went up into the wall in turn number 1. Mike Bliss bringing out caution for the 5th time at lap 182. The end of the incident. You see he already goes shooting up into the wall.
Earnhardt just does get by on the outside there.
A few moments prior to that, Brett Bodine, who had led here just a while ago, had engine failure, and you see he's not even been able to make it on a round, though he is. So I'm waving to the record driver, but Brett did not bring out the caution. The incident happened unrelated to that. So caution is out for the 5th time. Lap 182, and that nice 2.9 second lead that Tony Stewart had has gone bye-bye.
Now they act like they're coming in.
Let's see who's lying and who's coming.
They're all coming in.
They're all coming in. These stops will be at lap 184. Lap 184. Let's see what the leaders do. Glenn?
And Tony Stewart brings the Pontiac in. I have not been able to tell. I just got into their pits, and I don't think they're going to make any adjustments on the car. When this thing is on, oh, they're only doing 2 tires. Right side, Tony Stewart. He stalled it just a little. He's down and away. 2 tires. Stop for him, Dick.
Jeremy Mayfield also a 2-tire stop. They had a big discussion with Rusty Wallace, his teammate, about whether to go 2 or 4. Rusty kept saying 2 don't work, 2 don't work, go 4, go 4. Jeremy made the call to go 2. Rusty made the call to go 4. We'll see how that all shakes out.
Yeah, we'll all find out. So 2 tires for Stewart and Mayfield. And 4 tires for our hard luck guy at times here at Pocono, Rusty Wallace.
Well, I can tell you that Earnhardt had a great pit stop there.
Dale Earnhardt right now in the 4th spot. Everybody's going to sort out as we near the finish here at Pocono on a Monday.
Cool cars. Cool boots.
Introducing the next generation of Red Wings with Comfort Force. Red Wing Shoes, proud sponsor of Petty Enterprises Racing.
Welcome back, everybody, as we continue under caution here at Pocono International Raceway as Mike Bliss tagged the wall out there in turn number 1. Interesting watching some of the videotapes from the onboard cameras. Dale Jarrett also had a little problem out there in 1. Watch this. When he went off into the corner, I wonder if this is related to Brett Bodine's engine problem.
Well, I know one thing. Something happened, and there's a dark streak right there on the racetrack. Jarrett goes up towards the wall, trying to get it back straight, and does. But I'll tell you, it had to be some fluids on the racetrack for Jarrett to go up like that.
Brett Bodine had engine failure, and it happened immediately before the spin by Mike Bliss, and then the near problems for Dale Jarrett. So NASCAR didn't even have time to make the cleanup because Brett engine went pop and the other guys went behind him within a few seconds. So might well be all related. Pit stops bring about this sort of a running order. Earnhardt, Mayfield, Jarrett, Stewart, and Martin. We'll see how it all shakes down. Final 15 laps next. Our race leader is Dale Earnhardt in the GM Goodwrench Service Chevrolet. He won in Atlanta back in March. But here in 1982, remember that disastrous crash with Tim Richmond?
Wow.
But he came back, Earnhardt did. He won in 1987. And then in the wake of Davey Allison's passing, won again in 1993. Coming to the green.
Race cars off. Ready. Green's out. Green's out.
They'll settle it with 12 laps to go here at Pocono. How wide will Earnhardt's Chevy become?
Boy, there's a lot of big stories here, Eli. We've got calls from the people in the pits that most of these cars only took on 2 tires. Rusty Wallace took on 4. Who made the right call? We'll find out.
Rusty, though, is all the way back in 14th because of those 4 tires. And how about Jeremy Mayfield, Dick Bergman?
No, they're not happy with the engine under the hood of that car, Eli. Jeremy has tried both ignition boxes. He says the engine just is not as strong as it has been earlier in the day. It's not bad. It's just not as good as he'd like it to be. To Glenn Jarrett.
Okay, guys, thanks. You know, Tony Stewart came out 4th after his 2-tire change, and the reason that he lost the lead and came out 4th was, as I said, when he made the pit stop, the car stalled as he started to pull away, and that has hurt him track position-wise right now. He's got a couple of lap cars between he and Dale Jarrett as he's trying to pass Mark Martin as they go across the start-finish line. And Ricky Rudd makes a wild move down to the inside to try to pass them both.
Well, Ricky Rudd is coming from the back of the field now, and he's making a move on Mark Martin as they go through turns 1.
Here's Ward Burton. He hit the wall coming out of turn 2 That's the tunnel turn, running in 21st spot, and he is coming into the attention of the Bill Davis crew. Tough break here at lap 188 for Ward Burton.
That's a big hit because he's right up front in the points this year.
Finds himself coming into the event third in points, 102 behind the point leader Bobby Labonte as Ward Burton pulls back.
You can start digging. Start digging, clear racetrack. Go like hell. They're just coming out of 4.
Some things you don't have to analyze. They just want him to get on it there.
11 laps to go now. You heard the spotter say they're coming at a 4. That's a generic term. This being a 3-turned racetrack, he meant they're coming back to start-finish. Now watch the upper left-hand corner of the screen. We'll be showing you, in the square box there on the right, you'll see Ward just slapping the wall there. You just saw it very, very briefly in the middle of the screen. And there he was. And there is your race leader.
And that's Earnhardt going through that part of the racetrack, and now he's coming down the long pond, that little short stretch over there towards turn 3. He's actually pulling away from Jeremy just a little bit.
He has finished every single race this year, Earnhardt has. 6 top 5s as we come to 10 laps to go.
Boy, my hat's off to Ricky Rudd as we watch him go down in turn 1. He was at the very back of this field, had nose for the people just joining us, had a lot of problems with the front end of that car, was involved in an accident. They actually taped the whole front of that car up, as you can see it all over the nose part of that car, and he's all the way back up to 4th spot. What a drive.
Hanging on in 4th place right now. Jarrett and Rudd are 1 1/10 seconds behind Dale Earnhardt. Earnhardt has a few car lengths on Jeremy Mayfield.
2 teammates, they may work together to draft as much as they possibly can to catch up to 2nd place car of Jeremy Mayfield.
Remember, the cat car there is not on the lead lap. That's Ward Burton. He'd made that tire stop moments ago.
That's a blessing for Earnhardt because he can draft off of the car he's trying to put a lap down right there.
Some of these cars look like we've been running Martinsville. A short track known for the beating and banging.
Yeah, you hear people talk when they're doing the race up here. Barely touch the wall. There's no such thing as hitting the wall at 200 miles an hour, barely.
Yeah, the speeds are really Daytona-like. I mean, they're getting around here at 200 miles an hour.
It's basically like running down the back straightaway at Talladega and then running the apron through the corner. That's about what you're doing here.
Good analysis there. You're right.
Boy, the crowd's up. Earnhardt leading inside of 10 laps. The whole grandstand standing up every time he comes by. They're shaking their fist and really approving of Dale Earnhardt, the way he's driving that race car today.
Is he on pace for that 8th NASCAR Winston Cup title?
He's knocking on the door, I'll tell you that.
Trying to pull down his 76th career victory here today. And it would be his 3rd here at Pocono. But 8 laps, anything can happen.
Yeah, we watch people when they get aggressive on this racetrack. As long as you respect the racetrack, you get around it well. You try to push a little too hard, and that tunnel turn will get you. Martin making a strong run now. He's all the way up to 5th, and he's just behind this duo we're watching down the front straightaway here. Martin, you're riding with him down the front straightaway here. He's picked it up quite a bit.
If you're curious about Rusty Wallace, remember Rusty took 4 tires. He restarted in 14th. He is now up to 9th. He's running well, but you got to think he's got a little bit too much to make up. 6 seconds, 5.1 now.
Yeah, and every car he comes to now, the ladder's going to get a little steeper.
Meanwhile, in the Earnhardt pit, they have crossed their fingers and toes. Let's get an update.
Kevin Hamlin, the crew chief for this black number 3, is watching television just like you are at home. Kevin, what do you see as this race winds down? Your guys in the lead.
I think the GM Goodrich Service Plus guys in the pits here have done a terrific job today. They've kept us in this race. We kind of ran into a little problem at the beginning, bumped fenders with Mark Martin, pushed our right front in, had to pit during the green early, 4th lap in the race. We fought our way back, and hopefully we can just hang on in the front here.
Okay, good luck to you.
Getting close to this being an all Earnhardt all the time weekend. Remember, on Saturday, Kerry Earnhardt, Dale's son, won the ARCA race. The ARCA Bondo Marhide Series ran here Saturday, and Kerry got his first career victory in that division.
And Earnhardt looking for his second victory. It's not nice to be the dad and not have as many wins as your son. His son, Dale Jr., has 2 wins already this year. And, of course, Earnhardt only has 1 so far this year.
Laps to go. You see the spread from second to third pretty much stable at 1.1 seconds. There you see the differential. Then there's another 1 second back to Mark Martin, who's running in 5th.
You know, Eli, usually at this time in a race, you would say there's lap traffic that they're going to have to contend with. But right now they have open racetrack. It's just the fastest car and the best driver now.
Dale Earnhardt won here at Pocono in 1987 and 1993.
I know how they feel.
Don't think there's tension in this business?
Yeah, and I've been in the lead like that and look up in the mirror and see somebody as close as Jeremy is right now to Earnhardt. And the biggest thing you have to do is really concentrate, not make a mistake. It's your race if you don't make a mistake, but 1 slip and he'd be all over you.
Glenn Mayfield wasn't happy with the power plant. Does he have anything left?
I don't know. Let's ask Peter Stinzo, the crew chief. And we heard some reports about he really wasn't happy about the engine. It didn't seem quite as strong, but he's able to keep up. Peter, does he have anything for Earnhardt?
Well, I think he's just saving his tires for the last couple laps. We'll see what happens at lap 200.
The car exactly like he wants it now. Feel good to him?
Well, he ain't said 1 word since he got started again, so it's got to be pretty good.
I can tell you guys from experience of being in a race car, that's exactly right. If he ain't talking about it, if he ain't griping about it, he loves it.
3 more laps to go.
They better love it. The accelerator a little more, because Earnhardt right now looks to me like he's able to hold off the 12 car. The battle right now is for 3rd and 4th.
Ricky Rudd, got to give him effort there. A for effort. He's trying something. Kind of reminds you of Mike Skinner when Skinner's up there near the late stages of the race battling. He'll go inside. He'll try and make something happen instead of just riding along. And Ricky's given Jarrett every kind of looks there.
Yeah, he actually got all the way up on the quarter panel just a second ago and then slipped a little bit as they started off. But he's got every bit as good a car as Dale Jarrett does.
Riding with Ricky Rudd.
Listen to this shift. Is right.
Now with a couple of laps to go. Mayfield's cooling those tires. It's time to put a match to them.
Yeah, it's time to turn it up a notch.
Time is done.
Yep. And catching that crew car might be one thing. Getting by him, I guarantee you, he's got a mirror in that thing that works pretty well too.
Pontiac says that wider is better, but I bet you in the pinch, the Chevy can get awful wide too. There you see 5th place Martin, 6th place Stewart. Rusty Wallace is sitting back in 10th. Remember, after taking those 4 tires.
Takes Tony Stewart's car a few laps to really start working again. Now it's back up to speed, but he's not going to make it 3-peat here.
White flag is in the air. 2.5 miles to settle it. Does Dale Earnhardt pick up his 3rd win at Pocono? Does Jeremy Mayfield have anything left for him? Not the way Earnhardt got off the corner, he doesn't.
No, and he's using a lot of racetrack there. Moving down now, Jeremy drops to the inside, trying to draft up on him as they head towards the turn and turn.
Dale Earnhardt won here in 1987. He won here in 1993.
Oh,
Here comes Mayfield.
He made a move on the outside there.
Mayfield going for his second career with Pocono. He nudges him out of the way. Earnhardt goes high. Mayfield is going to win here at Pocono. Oh my! Dale Earnhardt gets rooted out of the way. Jeremy Mayfield waves out of the window. And Mayfield on the final turn of the final lap pushes Earnhardt aside and grabs the win in the Pocono 500.
Boy, oh boy, let me tell you, when you live by the sword, you die by the sword. I've watched Earnhardt do that on many, many races. Coming out the last corner, just touch a person enough to get him out wide.
Jeremy Mayfield on the final turn of the final lap just shoves Earnhardt out of the way. And now alongside Mayfield. Contact. Shove. Win. Jeremy Mayfield has competed in many motorsports. In Winston Cup, won the Winston Open. 8th. Childhood hero Darrell Waltrip for his first win here at Pocono. Celebrated his second Winston Cup victory this spring at California. And he's won again at Pocono here today. Glenn, I dare say there might have been some hand signals that were not in the driver's ed manual.
Well, they weren't salutes like he's giving the crew now. I'm going to have to ask him about that, Jeremy. Gets a big kiss first and a hug. Jeremy, that was an awfully aggressive move on the last lap there. A little bit of contact between you and Earnhardt. We saw him come up beside you after the race was over. Any idea what he was saying?
Yeah, that's part of it. You know, he's got me plenty of times, and that's the only time I ever got him. I mean, he can't say a word, you know. I just want to rattle his cage a little bit, you know what I mean?
All right, that was a great call on your behalf. That was a great call on your behalf there of deciding whether to go with 4 or 2 tires, Jeremy. That really seemed to make the difference.
Yeah, I mean, we've been bit like that several times, and we didn't want to get bit that time, or this time, you know. And I knew all the guys behind us, a bunch of them were going to take on 2 to gamble. They had nothing to lose, and they done it early in the race, and we couldn't get around them nowhere if you had 4 or not.
Get a congratulations from Michael Cranfish corner there.
It was gutsy, but hey, it's what it's all about, being on the edge, you know. And if you ain't living on the edge, you're taking up too much space, right?
Well, we all had to spend a little bit extra time here in Pocono. You don't mind it, do you? You love this place.
I'm glad, because I ain't got to fight the traffic or nothing, man. It's worth it right here. I tell you what, to win a race like that and be racing Dale Earnhardt. Last time I won here was past Darrell Waltrip. Now it was Earnhardt. I didn't have anything for him, you know. He just slowed up a little bit in the tunnel turn, and I got a run on him, and didn't mean to hit him or anything. Just want to, like I said, rattle his cage a little bit.
And I believe that he did rattle his cage a little, guys.
Jeremy Mayfield, our Brian Cool driver of the race. Are you burning hot? Call Brian to the rescue at 1-888-999-Bryant. What a finish. We hope to hear from Dale Earnhardt next. Well, that is Pocono International Raceway, seeing one of the most remarkable finishes. Little mud bog action to cap off this afternoon of racing. Jeremy Mayfield shoving Dale Earnhardt aside on the final lap. Peter Suspenzo and the crew named the Red Wing Shoe Company's hard-working pit crew of the race. Red Wing Shoes, America's best choice for durable, comfortable footwear. Moments ago, Dick Berggren caught up with Dale Earnhardt in the garage area. It was an interview ongoing as we were also talking to Mayfield at the same time.
What happened up there between you and Jeremy?
Racing, I reckon, is what he's going to call it. We ended up 4th. That was a good day for us. Good wrench guys worked hard, and it's a good, you know, just a good hard race all day. We kept working with the car. The 2 tires there at the end was really the way to go. It really made my car turn better, run better off the corner. And, you know, just a good day for us, and points and everything. hated Bobby, and some of the guys had trouble, but we still raced them good.
You pulled alongside Mayfield and had a little conversation. What'd you say to him?
Told him he's #1.
Dale Earnhardt, a good run today, but not a win.
Jeremy Mayfield led 3 times today for a grand total of 9 laps. Rusty Wallace led the most laps, 107 of them. In all of that, Dale Jarrett came home in second. Let's hear from him, Dick.
And it was an interesting day for Dale Jarrett. Every time we listened to your radio, we heard you say it's pushing, it's pushing, it's pushing. How did you ever manage to finish second with a car that was that difficult?
Well, we were just trying to make it better, and we did make it better all day. Todd did a great job making adjustments. We made some early that didn't work, and he came back and made some others, and we went in the right direction. And, you know, it's just a good team effort.
Congratulations on a great run, Dale.
Dale Jarrett coming home in second. Let's take a look at the final numbers because we might have lost track of who was where through all of the shoving. You see Ricky Rudd, solid run in third. Earnhardt. Mark Martin, I thought Tony Stewart might have had something there at the finish. Of course, that last caution, he didn't need that. Take a look at where your favorite is. I didn't know, buddy, whether Mayfield would even have enough to get back to Earnhardt, let alone shove him out of the way. I didn't know if he'd be able to get there.
Well, it just proves that Earnhardt is still human. He went in the tunnel turn. He didn't drive it in there as hard as he had the lap before. He was protecting the lead and lost momentum. And Jeremy Mayfield across the short chute, he shifts 3 times around this racetrack, and he was flying when he come up out of the tunnel turn. He had one shot. He drove it down in the corner, and unfortunately they made contact, but it was bad for one, good for the other.
What a finish. What a finish. Jeremy Mayfield, his 3rd career win, 2nd victory here at Pocono International Raceway. A lot of emotion. Ought to have Mike Hogwood here to talk about the monster trucks in the mud boggin. Back after this.
Presenting 9-time funny car champion John Force to test the Frame Extra Guard filter with its new short grip top.
It's easy to hold on to. See, I still got it. They ain't kidding about that rough textured grip. Couldn't drop it if I wanted to.
Oh, baby! The new Frame Extra Guard with short grip.
It sure makes changing your oil filter a lot easier.
Well, the fans filing out of Pocono International Raceway. A good 95–98% of the fans in the grandstands returned for today, and they saw quite a finish. Yogi Berra would have been very much at home here today.
And
it ain't over till it's over. Taking a look at the NASCAR Winston Cup Series points, Bobby Labonte still the leader, but now by only 57 over Dale Earnhardt. Remember, Earnhardt was 98 down, and with Bobby Labonte coming home 13th, Earnhardt finishing 4th. You see how the difference shakes out. Jeff Gordon still sitting there in number 10. Jeff Burton still no top 5 since Martinsville in late April. He came home in 7th today, and a lot of interesting finishes. Well, you never know what's going to happen in this business. That's why we all keep coming back, huh?
You know, that's why they call it racing instead of winning. You never know what's going to happen. It's a race every time we go to the racetracks. It's a race right down to the checkered flag.
Now, folks, coming up this evening at 8 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, if you'd like to see a replay of this event. I know many of you also are at work and maybe kind of having one TV on or something right now, if at all. This race will be replayed in its entirety at 8 p.m. both Eastern and Pacific time tonight. So if you want to catch up on all that's taken place here at Pocono International Raceway, certainly we'd love to have you tune in one more time. Again, that final pass, he just shoves him out of the way.
Just did touch him, just enough to get him in the loose stuff on the high side there.
Just wanted to rattle his cage, as he said. Didn't spin him, but shoved him on, and on to the victory goes Jeremy Mayfield. Whether it's from ground level or from up ahead and up above, the end result the same. Mayfield wins. Earnhardt slides back to 4th. We are so happy you've been able to stick with us here on this Monday here at Pocono International Raceway. Buddy Baker has been alongside. Dick Bergman and Glenn Jarrett have been down in the pits and the garage area. We thank them for their fine work. Hope you can stay with us throughout the summer months. Lots of racing coming up on TNN. Till then, Eli Gold for the whole crew here at Pocono. Good afternoon, everybody.